Hello, duelists. Welcome to the European World Championship qualifier in 2024 here in Berlin. It's Friday, and this is quite irregular because we typically don't have a broadcast for you on Friday, but we have World Qualifying Points playoffs for you. And as you can see in front of me, I have two powerhouse duelists. Just so you guys are aware, we have not one, not two, but three duels for you. We have two semi-finals. Obviously, both finalists will be going to the World Championships in Seattle, but you'll get to see the third place playoff to see who is going to be the third person who's going to Worlds through these points. It's very exciting. So let's waste no more time and introduce the two duelists in front of you. I have Anthony Lopez, who is the current national champion of France and also came second in YCS Bologna. And also we have Gabriel Netz, a top 8 in Bologna and Dortmund, a regular to topping these events. These are two powerhouse duelists, and we're ready to see which one of them is going to be making their way to the final. This is very exciting and very tense. So gentlemen, we're going to do a high roll to see who's going to go first. Gabriel's going to roll first. Okay, that's a 9. Let's see what Anthony gets here. That is a 9, okay. The duel is really this, the dice roll. Okay, that is a 10. Okay, and an 8. So you're going to go first. Okay, Gabriel is going to go first. So I'm going to hand you over to Nadir, Alberto, and Basti, who are going to be your wonderful commentary trio to take you through this semi-final here for the World Qualifying Points playoff. Gentlemen, take it away.
Thank you, Ed. Welcome, everyone. This is the live stream of the peak of Yu-Gi-Oh! Competition. That coveted spot at the World Championship 2024 is now ready to be told. The story is unfolding. Gabriel Netz versus Anthony Lopez. I am so excited, Alberto.
No, honestly, guys, our players battled it out throughout the whole year to come to this point and also basically defeated all the other duelists that qualified for this tournament. And I mean, it's been an amazing year, and honestly, you really want to get your chances today before the European Championship that is taking place. The tension is high like this, honestly, and what are your impressions, Seb?
Yeah, I mean, the wait has been very, very long for them the entire season. We saw them grinding. Anthony actually first place on the leaderboard, making it here into the whole top 16 playoff. And now, rightfully so, also sitting in top 4. They managed to go through 4 rounds of Swiss, which you will also be able to see later on because we pre-recorded these. But now, if they just win one match of Yu-Gi-Oh!, they are going to go to the World Championship in Seattle this year. So let's see how this one turns out. Let's start with the first semi-final of this World Championship points qualifier. Let's go into the match.
This is a really extremely tense moment as both players just need to win one match out of the 2. So this is top 4. We will not be playing the finals because the 3 spots offer you a chance to go to the World Championship. So the top 4 makes you into the final. You win your spot from this game. The second top 4 game is also going to be live streamed. We will be showing that to you. And of course, thereafter, there's a 3rd spot. We're going to then play a 3rd place match. So in a way, this is a bit of a double elim situation as Gabriel Netz leads with Tractus.
Fiendsmith's Tract is being activated, which is usually kind of an not so great start because we are normally trying to start off with normal summoning, Snake Eye Ash or something, and then at some point searching out Fiendsmith Tract through the Engraver. But by drawing the Tract, we're kind of forced to start off with that. Good thing though, we don't need to go for a Moon of the Closed Tavern because we're already having a Light Fiend monster on the field with the Lurry. So we immediately start off by Link summoning into the Requiem, and now there is our Engraver on the field as well coming through the Requiem.
Yeah, so the cool thing about the Fiendsmith engine in Snake Eye specifically, whether or not you do open the Engraver or the Tractus, it is still going to be a way to combo forward. But we still have a starter extender in our hand already, bringing out the Engraver and then bringing out the Diabell Star, the Black Witch, to set the Sinful Spoils directly from the deck. And while the Fiendsmith engine can indeed connect you into the Snake Eye portion of your deck, hard drawing it like this does allow you to still perform your combos and keep pushing through as Gabriel patiently awaits a inevitable disruption surely to come from Anthony's hand.
Totally. I mean, both of their decks are built kind of similar. Both of their decks are also kind of similar for what we saw from the North American version of this points play of last week, and they're featuring a lot of hand interactions. I think like one of them plays 18 hand interactions in their main deck, the other one plays 19 even. So you would definitely expect when half of the deck is consisting out of those interactions to see some of them on the first turn, but so far Anthony is just leaning back, enjoying what Gabriel has to offer. And I think Gabriel, by starting with the Fiendsmith's track there, he may have baited for cards like Ash Blossom and Joy Spring and so on.
That might be the case, honestly. And I mean, you may also expect Anthony is holding up into the Nibiru, which has been honestly huge and super impactful. But as we said before, honestly, you usually have to combine Nibiru with another hand trap, because otherwise that will be not enough.
That's true, but I mean, he has plenty of ways to combine it. There's Impermanence, there's Veiler, there's so many cards he could have to be pairing it up with the Nibiru. And honestly, when you do have that one Nibiru and you have something to pair it up with, you're also usually holding the other card that you want to pair with it for a good moment. So when you only have an Impermanence, for example, you're probably just going to throw it on the first Snake Eye Ash or something. But when you have the combination of those two cards, it becomes a little later when you're trying to work against your opponent. So let's see whether Anthony has that glorious combination of Nibiru plus something.
Yeah, so the Primal Being is, of course, a massive pivotal point in this matchup. A lot of players have been main decking it, and then, as you mentioned, pairing it up with other disruption to then clear the entire field. But Gabriel, no stranger to being able to circumvent and play through cards that are not readable from the hand, despite the stone-faced, poker face that Anthony has for us. Again, you know, there still is a chance that we are holding for the opportune moment to drop a Nibiru and a further disruption alongside with it. Otherwise, we're just going to have pure engine on his side to try and push through Gabriel's Enfield here.
Yeah, so Snake Eye Oak coming down, bringing back the Snake Eye Ash. Oh no, let's go for the Snake Eye Poplar instead. I guess that works. And of course, Anthony winning the biggest national champion of the entire season here in Europe, winning the French national champion. So therefore having a title this season already after falling short at YCS Bologna where he came second place. But Gabriel, even though he did not win one of these big tournaments, he made top 8 in 2 different YCSs this season. So also enjoying such a great season overall, therefore making his way into this playoff. And now in this game between two friends, one of them will already book their way to the World Championship, and the other one, the loser of this match, will still have another chance in the third place game, of course.
You can see we've established a 3-material Apollousa here, and on top of that we have now finally got into the all-important Snake Eyes Flamberge, which is then going to place the IP Masquerade from the graveyard into the Spell and Trap zone. There we have a Veiler coming down here.
Very interesting timing on that.
He has patiently awaited for this moment here, and now Gabriel has to make the decision to negate with Apollousa, which he does indeed. Chains Imp. He had 2 hand traps this whole time.
That's crazy. You would really not expect that, because when you're watching a regular game of Snake Eye or being played against Snake Eye, usually as soon as you could, people would be throwing down those hand interactions. But Anthony, I can guarantee you, has tested this matchup so much, and maybe he has found a different solution. Maybe that's the reason he sits here in this top 4 spot, being ready to maybe qualify for the World Championship. He went a different route, and that could be paying off big time here.
I mean, you can see just how masterfully he waited for the opportune moment. I mean, I'm not really seeing how Gabriel can actually keep playing here. I mean, I think maybe the Necroip Princess that we can go for from using the equip from the grave, potentially. Something like that. Continue with a Link Summon. Flamberge still hasn't resolved the grave effect, so that's important to pay attention to. Totally. The Imperm has been used, which means Apollousa is negated, but further than that, isn't going to be useful on the follow-up turn, as it will just have no negates. So we're going to send that off here. It looks like Gabe is still trying to play under the impression that there's a potential Nibiru. Keeping that Flamberge up, Sequence being summoned to the field here, the new portion of the Fiendsmith engine, giving you the Lacrima and the Desiree. Very important pieces.
We are going to use the effect now as well, grabbing the graveyard. That fusion summoning you just talked about, of course, here happening by using materials from the graveyard. And there we go. Looks like we're lining up 3 cards to be fusion summoned, and when we're fusioning 3 monsters, that of course means it's going to be Fiendsmith's Desiree, because Lacrima would have only needed 2 monsters to be fusion summoned here. But looks like we want to have the Desiree. And Desiree usually is more of a card you want to have as part of your end field, because with the Lacrima you would be able to extend further, summon out another level 6 monster, maybe go into something like Beatrice, but here in this situation we do decide to go for the Desiree, which then on the opponent's turn is able to negate a face-up card on the field. And Anthony only has 3 more cards in hand, will draw to a 4th, so being able to knock out one of these would be pretty nice for him.
Yeah, it's really nice, especially because like Gabriel, I think he's up onto at least 2 or 3 cards in hand still. So, I mean,
yeah,
still far from over. And I mean, I really like, by the way Anthony played this out. You know, it was very patient. But let's see if his patience will, you know, pay off. And
oh, but look at that! I think we're using the graveyard effect of Fiendsmith's Tract, and we're fusing away the Desiree right away. And therefore, the decision, first of all, looked like he would be committing to that. But here's the Lacrima coming anyways, and we already have the Desiree now set up in the graveyard as well.
Yeah, so going for the initial Desiree summon to then fuse it away for the Lacrima means that it can just activate its on-field effect to then return it. We just need to get an equip onto the Desiree to make sure that negate is live. And again, the little point of fear here, I think, is maybe still waiting for a Nibiru to come down. So still risking it by now going into that Flamberge, which is going to now get to trigger.
That's a good tool to play around a potential Nibiru, though, by going into SP Little Knight here.
Absolutely.
That is fantastic stuff. But Anthony, let's talk about the fact that he used that effect Veiler on the Flamberge Dragon. So I think Nibiru is still very likely, because he wanted to make sure there's nothing waiting in the Spell and Trap Zone to be summoned out of the field spell, potentially. And therefore, we just Veilered the Flamberge Dragon. So I'm almost certain at this point that must be a Nibiru waiting in his hand.
Honestly, yeah, that will make a lot of sense. And here, Gabriel, by the way, is playing this out very well, because I think maybe you may be catched off guard when, you know, such hand traps are being activated very late in the turn, but still, is navigating through this very well. And here with the Princess, let's see how he wants to extend this even further.
Looking at his graveyard, it's such a weird scenario, linking of your own Appaloosa on your first turn. But I mean, yeah, it was Imperm, so you can't really do anything with it. You may as well use it as a link fodder for another link monster. And ooh, okay, shall be this zone instead. And Anthony's like, yeah, bro, you kind of decided already on that zone, so let's stick to that zone, which is fair enough. And now we're linking off the Poplar. That means we have to go with the Princess into a Fire Monster still, as we were only able to summon Fire Monsters, and that is going to be the Hita here. But there is no Fire Monster we could use in our opponent's graveyard, though.
Yeah, I think he's just setting it up potentially for the Princess on the follow-up turn here, rather than using it as a actual meaningful point of extension. We still haven't used Engraver in the graveyard, so that's still offering some more extension plays here as we continue to link up even further, going into the spellcaster requirement of Celine, which is what Hita offered there.
But what are we trying to accomplish with that Celine? Because very obviously we went through that Appaloosa already. It's already sitting there in the graveyard, and Celine usually is being used to then also have access to the Appaloosa. And I don't even think there is another Link 4 monster in the extra deck of Gabriel, because he's not even running Access Code Talker or something like that.
Does he play in the side deck? No. Oh, no.
Yeah, I think he's just using it as follow-up for the next turn to then use it as a quick effect to bring back Dia Bellstar.
Actually, it is a quick effect. Yeah, this is follow-up, to be fair.
Okay, no Nibiru actually from Anthony. Passes turn. A very strange and awkward turn for Gabriel. I wonder if he's ever played into a situation where Veiler Imperm were held for so long. And now it's time for Anthony to try and clap back here. That's a good start. We've got Bonfire. And big decisions to be made here by Gabriel. Does he let it go through? Does he negate with Desiree? Risk things like Talents and a possible extender. Lots of different potential options available to to Gabriel here, depending on what he decides to do.
Ooh, are we thinking about using SP Little Knight here? It almost seems like that, but that feels like a waste, because you surely want to go after an opponent's monster here with the SP Little Knight when resources are so little. Oh, the Desiree. Oh no, he just ends up giving the thumbs up, so Anthony goes right into the deck, and he's going to search out either Poplar or Snake Eye Ash here, whatever he thinks is more suitable, because Poplar, of course, could special summon itself out right away, but the Snake Eye Ash, of course, ultimately could be resulting in more.
Yeah, nothing relevant on Gabe's side to summon from the temple, unfortunately. That Veiler on the Flamberge was really important, cutting off that Masquerena play. So again, he's very limited in what points of interaction Gabe has, so he does have to really consider those options very, very seriously.
Yeah, and we did end up going with the Snake Eye Ash, which immediately is also going to be coming down as a normal summon here on Anthony's side. And of course, it's going to use its effect, so Gabriel would have the option to respond to that with the SP Little Knight. We can also just still respond to that with the Desiree, so I feel like one of those two choices might be coming down here.
Yeah, so negating the Ash is obviously really strong, because you also have the secondary effect of Ash to consider. That's an infinite impermanence is huge.
That is even better, because you were talking about cards like Triple Tactic Talons and such, and we have just perfectly played around that too by not even using a monster effect to get that Ash, to get that Snake Eye Ash negated.
Which I think makes perfectly sense for Gabriel, especially because like Anthony now, here what do you do with the Desiree? You just risk it?
It's a difficult decision. The thing is, with the Snake Eye Diabellstar that is probably going to be, not the Black Witch that is probably going to be searched here, they would have to give up another card. So maybe just wait for the Snake Eye Diabellstar and then negate that one. I kind of like that, to be honest.
Okay, so removing the body for the Snake Eye Ash here is pretty cool, because it means that we are going to most likely wait for the Diabellstar, as you said, negate her, but also by removing the body with the SP Little Knight, it's going to prevent something like Dark or Hita from being used by Anthony here.
I love this. So Anthony would have to discard another card here from hand now, ultimately, for that Black Witch. Which one is it going to be? Of course, now the first monster effect was also activated, so Triple Tactic Talons could be crucial from here on now. So how is Anthony going to pilot these 3 cards he only has left in hand? But to be fair, Gabriel's interaction here is limited too. He only really has that Desiree left. Yes, but Celine can bring back a monster, but that's not really going to provide any kind of disruption. It's going to be follow-up, but nothing that Anthony would have to worry about this turn. So if Anthony has that Witch plus something else that he can really do a whole lot with, he might be able to break through this here, honestly.
Yeah, it's really down to what that last and final card is. 3 in hand, 1 has to be discarded for the Diabellstar. So essentially, there's 1 card really that matters in Anthony's hand here, and let's find out and see what it is as he deliberates very, very carefully what he needs to try and play through the field here that he's managed to somewhat prevent from being fully established from that really patient impermanent Veiler. Credit where credit is due. That was incredibly well sought after from Anthony.
Yeah, I mean, something that could also be interesting.
It's Engraver. Wow.
I mean, that's not even the discard here for the Diabellstar, but we're going to activate the effect of Engraver, which is very, very strong, because now that is another resource in the graveyard. That is something, even though we're getting stopped on the Black Witch, that is something we can work with from there on. So I think Anthony might have multiple pushes here to somehow end up pushing through this.
I think it was the best one, honestly, to have in hand.
That's
the side of the Diabellstar, because now it changes everything. Because, like, I think Gabriel navigated through this very well with Desiree being on the field, but as you said, Seb, like, there was only 1 interruption, right?
Yeah.
With the Engraver being sent to the field, honestly, now to the graveyard now, I think Anthony's on the draft seat.
Oh, and there is Triple Tactic Talons too. Oh my!
Wow.
We of course have to negate that with the Desiree. That leaves Anthony free to do whatever he wishes from here on. And there is the track now being activated. And he did search it out with the Engraver, which is the better way of doing it. Also, Valeri was not waiting in hand. He could just search it out from his deck, now discard it, and it immediately is going to activate, provide Anthony a first monster.
Where we have Princess in the grave, right?
Ooh, you're right.
So,
you're right. There is one more thing waiting for him. But are we going to use it on the Lurie? I think we could, honestly.
Special summon the Lurie here allows him to continue. I think the problem with using it on the Lurie is that you can then use the Engraver in the grave, recycle the Lurie, bring back, then make Requiem. So you do have to be a little bit more patient here. And Gabriel is holding off. Perhaps maybe we'll see it hit a sequence, is maybe what he's going to wait for.
There is going to be the Engraver now on the field. And Gabriel, you can see it. It's a very tough situation. He's leaning forward, really thinking heavily about this. Of course, having tested this matchup plenty of hours. And now, apparently, the Engraver summon is where he wants to use his Promethean Princess from the graveyard. The Bestower of Flames, of course, being also a very big reason why those fire decks, why the Snake Eye decks and such are so successful in the last couple of months. And it's now going to take care of the Engraver on the field.
Yeah, so this was the last and final point of disruption that Gabe can offer here. The Fiendsmith Engraver can bring itself back from the graveyard, and then also likewise in the process, it's a huge battle to fight through here because we have to deal with this whole field, and now Gabriel gets the search for the last card in hand now, and Ash to be able to do a lot of this again on the next turn, and just such a huge field here as well to try and fight through.
Yeah, I mean, we still have that Black Witch, and we are going to be able to get a monster onto the field, which is that Fiendsmith Engraver from the graveyard, and that could be sent to the graveyard now through the Black Witch, and then, when we just get into original Sinful Spoils, our whole Snake Eye package could be going again, but on the other hand, Snake Eye Ash was previously negated, so we couldn't search out Poplar anymore.
This was a really, really important play here by Anthony with the equip of the Requiem attaching itself onto the Engraver allows him to get the free send for the Diabell Star, which is important with no more cards left in hand. Then we set the Sinful Balls, and now it's time to go into Poplar, or potentially Oak, to bring back the Ash. The Ash second effect hasn't been used this turn. It was first negated by the Imperm. So Anthony choosing to go for Poplar here, it looks like.
And also very important to note, as we now got to that point of also resolving the original Sinful Spoils, that wanted in the graveyard is going to give him another card because it will be able to banish itself and put that original Sinful Spoils back to draw an additional card. So Anthony really gets into the position again here of turning this around. This is perfectly piloted. Honestly, Anthony, when I watch him play, I almost feel like I'm watching a robot, honestly. The way he's moving, the way he's going through those combos, through those steps, it's absolutely analytical, absolutely perfect. And his gameplay, as it has been for so many times throughout the season, is once again on point here.
Yeah, no, as good of a Fiendsmith Snake Eye Mirror as one can have, this is definitely a more enjoyable one to watch here as we are piloting this super expertly from both players' sides here.
Totally.
You can see the sequences being summoned into a fusion summon of the Lacrima. Lacrima then gets to bring back the Engraver. We now have 6 access if we want to go into...
Finally time for one of your favorite cards, my friend here.
Potentially Beatrice sending the Oak, reviving with the Promethean Princess here.
There it is. The Eternal Lady, or the Lady of the Eternal, is going to use its effect again, and it's going to end up sending the Oak to the graveyard, as you already were thinking.
Yeah, okay. Snake Eye Diabell Star, scales Poplar, summons itself out here, links that away into the 3 for the Promethean Princess. And I think the hard part here is trying to find a way to get to game because of the extra deck and how tight it is. Might not have potentially the ways to try and push through this. We see the Flamberge being summoned out of Anthony's deck, whizzing through these plays here. No more disruptions left on Gabriel's side, and it's just a case of how much Anthony can clear and try and prevent.
Yeah, honestly, Raging Phoenix and then Zilantis was such a common tool for Snake Eye decks in the past, but now, with the Fiendsmith cards in the extra deck, we saw Beatrice, we saw Desiree, Lacrima, Requiem, Sequence. There's many cards you also have to include into your extra deck. There's no space for Zilantis and the Raging Phoenix anymore. Therefore, that convenient tool that would have probably immediately brought him the win here, he will have to think a little longer. He will have to find a different way to figure this out.
Yeah, that's also why most of the players are side decking Access Code Talker, right? Which is, insane. And might have helped him out now, but, I think he will find other ways. But honestly, what a showcase from Anthony.
It's for a game 1, this is really as good as it gets from this type of mirror match here as we go into Hita to then steal the opponent's fire monster. Well, we could go for a double Flamberge.
I mean, he doesn't have to care about the second effect of Flamberge here anymore, being able to bring back fire monsters as this was already used that turn.
Exactly.
Also, there's no space on the field of Gabriel to even bring back any monsters. Therefore, that is no concern for him at the moment. And Anthony is just thinking where to go with this. Honestly, Access Kotoka, as you were just mentioning, it was only the 16th card for Anthony. He only decided to include it into the side deck, but it would be so convenient right here, right now in his extra deck. But he will only be able to rely on that from the second game on. And we are in the battle phase, apparently.
Yeah, we're in the battle phase. We're clearing the princess. I'm a little bit surprised about that. Maybe do you think scaling it would have been a better option there?
I could see that, yeah.
That might have been an option. Yeah.
Still haven't used our Flamberge, I believe. Have we?
Maybe we want to use that on one of our own cards in the graveyard, though. Maybe we do
use
end
it
up
as some setup.
Yeah, maybe we do end up summoning an IP Masquerena or something like that, attacking over almost all of the monsters that Gabriel had on his field, but he so carefully tried to set up. Yo, we can just use the opponent's IP Masquerena, I guess. That works perfectly fine. We don't even have to summon one ourselves.
Yeah,
we can just use the one that Gabriel still has, of course, in his graveyard.
And I believe Anthony hasn't resolved his own Flamberge yet.
I don't think so either.
Yeah. Suddenly in a really powerful spot here. We talk about the follow-up that Snake Eye can establish, which, you know, Gabriel admittedly did manage to make a full field here, get the Snake Eye Ash to the hand, but Anthony making quick work of the field here, clearing a whole portion of it, and we just need something set up to try and prevent the clapback from Gabriel with this searched out Snake Eye Ash, and as well, of course, this top deck is going to be really important.
Ooh,
Scaling Celine, interesting.
Fairly interesting, I agree. That would have been one of the cards that I totally did not expect to be there.
I'm not sure if Anthony's happy with this play. He had a little shake of the head there. I'm curious if maybe something went wrong somewhere through this.
Okay.
Going to use the SP Little Knight to banish the sequence. That's pretty critical here, so it means while the Fiendsmith engine is very self-recycling in that it's very durable over the course of the entire game with your constant ability to put the cards back, permanently removing it with the...
Look at that now. We just provided Gabriel another monster that he can summon out through the temple. Oh, but that also gives us the opportunity to use the princess in the graveyard. So maybe Anthony played this out perfectly once more.
Yeah, no, using the Flamberge as destruction fodder for our own princess, popping the Celine that we gave them from the Divine Temple to then trigger the Flamberge, bring back more materials. And let's see what other Link monsters we can establish here.
This may have looked a little awkward, but honestly, this was perfectly executed by Anthony, and maybe Gabriel was even a little bit caught in the trap there by Anthony being like, oh yeah, I can get this for free, let me get this for free. And then Anthony's like, let's go, that enables my princess in the graveyard, and I can extend even further. Now the Phoenix is coming down. Are we really going to get rid of the entire field by Gabriel here? That he fought for setting up so long, honestly. Like, he was playing and playing on his opening turn, and Anthony waited so long to stop him, and then on his turn he really went in. Oh, and that looks like the end phase, though.
Okay,
SP Little Knight returning. Okay, so we didn't break it fully, but still, we brought ourselves into a good situation here.
Notice that we didn't clear the Divine Temple with the Nightmare Phoenix because we wanted to keep the discard, and I'm going to hazard a guess that that's most likely an Infinite Impermanence we've got down there.
I think we're packing up our cards, and that means Anthony Lopez is going to take down game number 1 here, being one game now only away to go to the World Championship in Seattle.
What a showcase, guys. Honestly, I'm impressed. I mean, 25 minutes game 1, and...
yeah, I mean, sometimes Snake Eye Fiendsmith can really just boil down into the extreme amount of hand traps that you just throw at each other immediately, cutting them off from even establishing a field in the first place. Having the Veiler and the Imperm means that if you do stop Snake Eye at any point, they can just go into their Fiendsmith engine. In this specific situation, because Gabriel led with the Tract, Anthony had this bizarre, almost... holding back of the hand traps, but ended up working out quite well because, you know, you hold enough to then be able to play on your turn, and it just meant that it really put Gabriel in an awkward position.
That was really amazing. And Anthony Lopez, of course, being the first place on the leaderboard throughout the entire season, as I already said, but Gabriel, of course, being first up the Swiss here in this playoff already. He went 4-0 in Swiss. He defeated everyone, so he's definitely able to come back from this as well. So he's going to be in a bit of a...
No strangers to pressure here. Multiple deep top cut spots from Gabriel.
And honestly, looking at his side deck, it's a bit more interesting than a lot of the other players, because a lot of the players have used that Beatrice that we also saw now in the first game to use Angel of the Blue Tears, sending that card from your deck to enabling all kind of different trap cards from your deck, from your side deck specifically. But on the other end, Gabriel, has decided against that. There is no such in his side deck. There's not even real any trap cards in his side deck at all.
Totally different, honestly. And we talked about this before in the previous round, how basically players are basically adapting their side decks, you know, very differently. And
this is where it's probably going to pay off most for Gabriel here, because he's really focused hard on the mirror match.
Yeah.
He's got multiple options for going first in the mirror, more hand traps for going second. I think maybe post-siding game 2 and 3, I do personally prefer Gabriel's approach. We'll see how that plays out. Yeah, our players are definitely... our players are ready for game number 2 here. Let's get on over to the table as we are just about to start this next duel.
There we have them. Score hasn't been updated yet, but we saw Gabriel just... Oh, wait, no! Oh, that means Gabriel must have actually won the first game. Different dimension ground being activated after the Beryllia. A couple of turns just going back and forth here. And that must mean that actually Gabriel is the one winning game number 1 and Anthony just scooping while working through the field for so long.
Oh, this is such a...
What a situation this is all of a sudden. Going on? There's the Ash Blossom on Engraver. Things going down quickly now.
Look at how mechanically these players have just like gone through this here. Normal summon a hand trap to then go into the closed moon here. By the way, Anthony scooping the game, I suppose, realizing that Gabriel's follow-up of the Snake Eye Ash plus the recycling of the Fiendsmith engine must have put him in a commanding position. Going into game number 2, Gabriel goes first, dumps the Malcharmy. No draws being given from the Malcharmy. Anthony activates different dimension ground, passing back to Gabriel, who then passes back to Anthony.
That was insane.
All of that occurring within the span of about 25 seconds, by the way. Yeah, wow, incredible. But here we are. Double hand trap comes down from Gabriel. Anthony still pushing through. There's the Necro Princess. Then being able to recycle, summoning out the Engraver.
Gabriel thinking on the summon, making that clear. Maybe I want to do something here. And that is the Primal Being. We thought Anthony might have it in game number 1, but now Gabriel is the one having it here in the second game.
And down to 1 card in hand from Anthony here. I'm not sure if we have anything else yet. Nope, no Bonfire for the Poplar. Gabriel does need an engine piece to try and push through here. Anything at all. Bonfire, Bellstar, Ash, something can get Gabriel back into this one. And Anthony sits patiently with a card in hand. Is it another hand trap? Let's see if Gabriel can actually mount an offense here. How much defense does the Necro Princess have?
2,000. So 2,000? Okay. Too big to be overcome.
Too big for
here.
the Nibiru, yeah. At least trying to have a way to out this token and try and establish something. Any normal summon try to go into the Engraver.
I think it's 3 monsters, but can't really quite tell what they are, to be fair. So it's okay.
Oh, we're normal summoning Malcharmy. I guess that will do. That will do for a Link 2 summon to go into the Moon of the Closed Heaven, immediately being linked away to go into Requiem as well, and Anthony just sitting there, nodding, having to accept that not only the Malcharmy being activated on the first time, but not also the normal summon of Malcharmy is making him problems here.
Yeah, no, it's one of the advantages of your hand traps is when you have generic extra deck enablers, you can just normal summon, go into Closed Heaven. We saw some of this with the synergies that things like Ash Blossom could offer with Halka Fibrax, you know, not so long ago. Using that to be able to just access these generic Link 2 monsters. And yeah, Gabriel is trying to go off to the races here. No responses as of yet from Anthony.
Indeed. So that Requiem now in the Spam Trap zone, being placed there.
Considering the options from Gabe, we'll see if we send that for the effect of a Black Witch in the hand, or if we don't have her, might just have to try and go for some kind of a Beatrice line here. Gabriel takes a little bit of a moment here to think about these
we are also
plays.
fusion summoning out our own copy of Necro Princess here.
Yeah, this like it's the world premiere of this card, and Infinite Forbidden is absolutely incredible. Just acting as like almost like a Link 1 monster that allows you to then have that level 6 synergy. It works so well with the Fiendsmith Engraver. They really were made for each other. But it looks like we're gonna go into a Link 2 here, going for the sequence. Beatrice as an option, not really having enough materials and fodder on the field to be able to actually enable the Princess. Snake Ash line as we fuse away 2 monsters going into Lacrima, it looks like.
Absolutely, yep. He has decided on that. We've seen him now multiple times go for the Desiree first and then going for Lacrima. But for that, he always had the track in the graveyard already to even do that.
Yeah.
But here he doesn't have the track yet, so he will just have to go for the Lacrima right away. But that Lacrima doesn't have anything to bring back anymore, as we used the Engraver there to fusion summon into it. So I don't even know how much it provided there, to be honest. At least we're going to get to Promethean Princess, I assume.
All right, activating the effect of the Lacrima to recycle and deal 1,200 points of damage when sent away. Get to summon the Ash Blossom.
Yeah, summon back Ash. We've heard that
not?
plenty of times.
Why not?
Not that Ash usually, but I guess it will do. And we're going to link up into another Fire Link monster. Ooh.
Okay.
Our opponent may have a better Fire monster to summon back,
We've got
though.
the Flamberge of the opponent. Anthony's discarded Flamberge actually being a bit of an issue here, as we now have a big enough monster. Well, we can place the token in the spell and trap zone and actually try and deal some damage, but don't really see if we can actually make anything on Gabriel's side here. Maybe an SP Little Knight to end on?
Potentially, yeah. And I mean, to be fair, Anthony also only has 1 card in hand, so
yeah, nothing
if
used
we get
yet.
damage in here by attacking with both monsters, Anthony would be putting onto that literal clock, where he would have to draw into something, play on the next turn, or otherwise it would be going into Gabriel's favor and he would be going to the World Championship.
Big back and forth here from the players from that game number 1. The clock is ticking away as we approach the 15-minute mark. Time is something to think about and consider as we run it down
we are
with
on the battle
phase.
That is going to bring down Anthony's life points significantly. And yeah, he's also realizing that. He will need a good draw here because he does not even have 2,000 life points left.
Yeah, it's looking pretty bad. We've got 1 card in hand. A star top deck is what Anthony needs us in this moment to try and get back into this game. No real disruption on Gabriel's side. I'm not sure if we have a hand trap. I didn't quite see that, but yeah, we need a good engine piece here. Top
again,
deck,
there
draw
still
for
is the
turn.
Princess, but
Do
when
we
there
have
is a
it?
card more to be drawn, there's always a chance in Yu-Gi-Oh! And there's
Standby main.
normal summon
Luri.
Luri, okay, that can do things.
Haven't we used Requiem?
No, I think he still has it. Yeah.
Did we already have it? Okay.
Linking it off,
Yeah,
there
we
is the
still have
Requiem indeed.
No response. Special summon out the Engraver from the deck. This is going to be able to actually establish some sort of an offense here because, wow, we are very much behind after that crazy back and forth for the first 3 or 4 turns there, depleting a lot of the cards out of our hand, but both players just in a super simplified game state right now.
So, Gabriel thinking whether that would be a good moment. I think he used the Princess earlier on an Engraver as well, so maybe that is the moment he wants to generally use the effect of Princess in the graveyard. Gabriel's just looking at the graveyard from Anthony, spreading it out, as you usually do with your own graveyard, but we're just looking at the opponent's one here, trying to figure out how many resources are there in...
I think he's debating on whether or not to use the Princess.
Yeah.
Could potentially have a Bestial as well, you never know. Very popular card, people playing up to 7 copies of those in the main for the mirror match, so lots of reasons to check the grave in this scenario, and we are going to activate the Princess, yeah.
Are we going to give up the opponent's Flamberge? Looks like it. I mean, we can always get it back with the Hita in the next turn, or not. Okay, it's going to be our Hita that we're going to give up, and it's going to be destroyed. Yep. Going to the graveyard as the Engraver on the opponent's side of the field does. Does Anthony have anything else to add to that? Okay, first of all, Engraver just gone, but coming back right away through the graveyard effect. And what else is there?
Requiem.
All right, and there is the Black Witch!
That's crazy.
Anthony has drawn into the card he needed. Off we go once more.
Unbelievable. Wow. The Princess popping. Last card. The Princess for the send of the free equip being able to attach itself from the graveyard, meaning that Princess has no requirements basically to be able to summon itself and then get the sinful spoils out onto the field.
Dramatic scenes here in the first semi-final of the points playoff. Also noteworthy, Nibiru right now not able to be activated anymore as we have summoned out that Princess there to our own side of the field. Also the Bestials you were talking about, not possible, Dark Monsters. So that is going to be just Anthony playing for here now. And
Yeah.
funnily enough, now with that Flamberge on the opponent's side of the field, we may as well just attack over it somehow and then use the effect of it by attacking over it and getting monsters out that way.
At some point we can do that. Again, you'll notice that Anthony's play has significantly sped up here because he knows that he's going to be going second in game number 2. Well, a very, very nice little bonus effect the Fiendsmiths offer you is the Lacrima Burn. So doesn't want to be falling victim to that or something like Spooky Dogwood either, which a lot of players have been playing. So no one wants to end up in that time situation. Anthony playing as quickly as possible here.
There is the track being activated, and even though the Lurry already was on the field this turn, the previous time it was normal summon, so now being discarded off of the track means it can come back to the field again.
Yeah, free discard and free special summon. 4 bodies worth of link rating available to Anthony as well here, must be noted. And the Engraver has been used as well, remember, so we don't have a rank 6 play with Beatrice or M7. There is going to instead be Anima being made. Okay. Might be trying to go for an SP play of sorts. Sequence sent for the Sinful Spells, actually, and this is where we get into the heavy knocking part of the engine here. Look at the speed at which we're summoning our monsters here.
All right, Gabriel's like, calm down. First of all, activate the effect of Poplar in hand. We are going to do it the right way, and here
just wondering what possible interaction he might have here. He's thinking for a moment, keeps checking Anthony's grave actually. Poplar summoned out of the hand from the Snake Eye Ash Search, speeding through these combos again. Anthony very aware of the constraints of time as we approach single digits left for this game number 2 only.
Of course, Anthony being a mastermind of those Snake Eye mirror matches. He played one of those against Gabriel Susi, another competitor of this World Points playoff, which did not make top 4 at the finals of the French National Championship. So he definitely is very, very much aware of what's going on in that matchup. Now also with the Fiendsmith cards added. We have seen him use those Fiendsmith cards quite well so far, so definitely fair to say that he is an expert with those two.
Seeing these players play at the peak of their abilities is absolutely such a treat. Happy to bring this coverage to you guys because the World's Point playoff, I mean, it doesn't get, the stakes don't get higher than this. The gameplay doesn't get more technical than this. It really is such an incredible duel that we've had so far, and there's still plenty more to fight through here as Anthony is deliberating on some of the options available to him at this point in time.
Totally. Like, even though the season was so long and they fought so hard to get their spot here in this tournament, now at this point, when they are in the top 16, it feels like a shortcut to the World Championship, doesn't it? Because you only have to win 3 spots out of 16. There's like an actual mathematical good chance to make it to the World Championship. So it's definitely such a great way, a great chance to make it to the World Championship. And Anthony is fighting back right now of still having a chance to go there.
Because you can almost touch it, right? So you're almost there. So you're almost on the finishing line. And, you know, you can see the light. And here with this turnaround of events, here comes the Appaloosa.
Double Hita being used for the summon of Appaloosa. We've got the Coal-Length Nightmare Phoenix to protect it from the battle. We just need to try and get something a little bit larger here to try and get over the last 2 remaining cards of Gabriel. No battle phase has been used as of yet, remember.
That is indeed true. That Flamberge String still being kind of big, but I mean, that Flamberge String now being there on the side of Gabriel means Anthony currently has no access to it, so we can't summon it out from the deck as there only is one in the main deck. So our combo lines right now are kind of limited because we just don't get the Flamberge String out.
Yeah, I'm wondering. Okay, yeah, we're crashing.
Okay, we are using the effect of Snake Idea Bells to actually putting both of them into the spell and trap zone. And usually that would be on 2 different sides of the field, but Anthony just grabbed both of them and he put both of them next to the Snake Eye Oak and the Nibiru token. So it's getting kind of crowded there in the spell and trap zone of Anthony.
Is it not possible to go battle phase and crash the Flamberge, bring back 2 bodies, and then keep playing from there, maybe?
Oh, we're just going to,
rather than using the effect.
Okay.
Oh wow, it looks like we're just passing on this. Okay.
Gabriel.
All right, interesting. I guess that's kind of cool because Anthony's decided to leave the fire monster up with the princess.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure we have like any super relevant targets left in the graveyard. Can bring back.
Last time we brought back Ash Blossom and Joy Spring, so I don't really think so.
No great options from Gabe here.
Okay, I think they're currently.
The judges are just clarifying an interaction previously. I wonder what that would be for. But yeah, we're just going to have a little hold up for just a moment. Try and figure out and see what exactly the concern is.
Yeah, absolutely. So one thing that I was also, that Flamberge Dragon is going to go back. Oh, that is looking very, very interesting. Okay, so let's actually for a short moment bring it back to us, and we're going to talk about it a little bit as the players are trying to figure out what was going on there, as the judges are doing their job. Of course, with such a high pressure situation, with such high stakes going to the World Championship, you want to make sure that everything is going accordingly, and therefore we let them figure that out right now, and then we're going to be back with the match in just a moment. But yeah, they're both really fighting for it, right? Do you think they feel any pressure? Because they are playing flawlessly here so far. I mean, apparently there was a little bit of a hiccup now that the judges are intervening, but they were playing so well until this point. And it almost seems like they're not human to me, at least.
I mean, no, like from the way they played and like, you know, smashing cars on the table basically and playing at like a speed that, I mean, we have not seen so far, honestly. It's like they know this by heart, no?
Yeah,
right?
totally.
But, I mean, like in general, these two players know each other, so it's like this is something that will be resolved and fixed no matter what. But I mean, like in general, we have seen how they basically mastered this deck, and they're showcasing us how the deck is played. And it can't get better than this, in my opinion.
And I think the players are actually continuing with the game. So back over to the full view. Let's see how this one plays out now with the correct game state again.
Ah, okay. So Appaloosa requires two different names. We use double Kita. Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah, that
good
was
catch by the judges.
Yeah, so specifically two different names there means we have to do a little bit of a rewind, and this actually could get a little bit awkward, I suppose, as we now have to go into the Princess, and we are locked for fires now. So, all right, so rewinding here as well.
Okay, still ending up with the Flamberge and the Snake Idea Bellster in the Spell Trap Zone. Now Prince is bringing back our own Hita. Oh wait, no, it is not even our own Hita. That's the problem. Okay, he's very even. Okay, there is a Poplar still to bring back. Fair enough. What's up next here?
Right, just wondering where we're going to be at now, since Anthony's line has to be significantly altered because of this. And the players again just discussing with the judges to see if there's, I think, maybe any illegal activations.
I feel like what currently is going on is that Gabriel is just making sure that he's still going to draw the same card for turn, because I think he was already in the process of drawing for the next turn, so we just want to make sure that is not going to intervene in the current game. But Anthony, still the turn player. He was already done with his turn, but then they realized, okay, there was a little bit of a mistake by using two same name monsters for that Appaloosa. Are we though going to be able now to even get to that Appaloosa anymore? Because we are right now only allowed to summon fire monsters. Exactly. Okay, that is not going to be the case anymore. So this could just still be Appaloosa here, and we could even summon out Appaloosa for free if we like.
It's just a little bit awkward because since you have to use the... Oh, okay, we get to banish the Princess now. You can see some frustration coming out from Gabriel's side here. I think probably a little bit dismayed at the illegal activation causing this much of a...
But there's Ogre on the... Yeah, Ogre on SP Little Knight, but still we're going to banish the Promethean Princess there.
We've got a Flamberge and a Ghost Ogre top deck, I suppose, from Gabe's side. Yeah, not ideal.
Oh, setting a monster only.
Passing. Yeah, no, that's
Anthony in the driver's seat. We're going to immediately go into our main phase, use the effect of Hita, bring back the opponent's Hita. Please, this time, don't summon Appaloosa with them. But I think it's also enough to just attack with them here, maybe.
Yeah, we got the Engraver in the graveyard as well that can just summon itself out for free. That's extra damage, and it should be enough to attack over the set monster here. Gabriel more than happy to keep playing.
Sending Oak to the graveyard for Witch now as well. Snake Idea Bellster being summoned out too. We are in the battle phase, attacking over that Ghost Ogre, and that looks like well over 8,000, and therefore the score is even. Anthony Lopez takes down game number 2, and we are heading into a third game between these two.
Whew. What a turnaround, guys.
What an up and down roller coaster of emotions there. First off, we didn't even realize that Anthony lost the first game. Now he won the second one, though, after a hard fight and a couple of really, really interesting turns. But it is going to come down to that third and final game. Holy.
Yeah, equalized really well there. And as we mentioned many times, I mean, the level of play here from going back and forth with the constant, you know, that first 4-turn interaction was absolutely incredible. Activating the Mulch Army, denying any draws from Anthony's side, feeling safe with the different dimension ground to be flipped to banish all monsters on the field. Gabriel deciding to then pass back. I mean, yeah, what an absolute whirlwind of emotion, a flurry of plays there. Incredible stuff as we head into game number 3 now. And I think, you know, again, pay attention to the clock here. Just as an update, there was a slow play warning issued to Anthony at some points. There was a 3-minute time extension.
That's good to know.
I do believe the overlay will be correctly updated with that extension in play. So again, it's very likely this won't be a complete game. It will be down to who can at least get away that chip damage, or going first, can Gabriel successfully resolve the effect of that Fiendsmith Lacrima, an extremely important win condition, as powerful as it is, still able to be used in a timeout situation, and see if he can take this one away.
But still, we've seen them play so well, executing every move perfectly, step by step by step. But now with that pressure situation, such a small amount of time left, I think we might start seeing them cracking a little bit. Maybe the emotions getting to them a little more now with the short amount of time left. Maybe already seeing that spotted Worlds in front of them, because it's so close now for both of them with only one game away.
Game number
you can
3
see the light. I mean, it's almost there, but the tunnel is still, you know, it's a long way.
They're sitting a very competent opponent on the other side of the field, still like standing in front of the light, trying to hide it. But one of them is going to book their ticket just now after this third and decisive game. But as you were talking about it as well, Nadir, there's of course some options that could come in here going second. And Gabriel has decided to bring in Ghost Sister and Spooky Dogwood into his side deck.
Does Anthony also
he's going
play
to start, and Anthony on the other end does not have it.
He has no time
he
cards.
does not have to worry about it, actually.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say Anthony is definitely in a bit of a disadvantaged situation. Can Gabriel break that top 8 curse? Well, he has to some extent as he's reached the semi-final here, but that world spot, the coveted journey to Seattle this year, next month at the World Championship, is what this is all down to. Our players are shuffling up, just about to wrap up the post side as we get into game number 3. And again, remember that timer is going to be so critical to this, and it really, really will be a crazy end to this duel. Let's head on over to the table and see how this one plays out for the last and final time of this top 4 match.
There we have them. Third and final game, decisive game. Only the winner of this is going to go to the World Championship in Seattle. Let's see who got it. Let's see whether Gabriel can capitalize on going first. And Snake Eye Ash is a normal summon of all time. That's a normal summon that can bring you to the World Championship, I'm pretty sure.
That's huge. Ash, no response, no Impermer Veiler coming down here. Activates the effect of the Poplar in the hand to special summon. 1 minute 30 seconds is probably not a lot, and definitely not long enough to play out a full turn here. So as I said, this is going to be a huge momentous Lacrima from Gabriel. Can he establish it, and can he activate it and resolve it successfully for that 1200 burn? Anthony is staring intently here, probably thinking and realizing that the major win condition is to try and stop Sequence. I want to say will be the most important card in this situation. Can Gabriel get an Apollousa down before going for it? Potentially, depending on what Anthony has in his hand. And I don't think Anthony's deck is super suited for time situations, but we'll see what Gabriel can do about it as we go into Relinquished off of the Poplar.
What are we going to do here? That's an interesting way of approaching things, because we are not going to go into Closed Moon or anything. We're just going to summon our Nightmare Phoenix using the effect of Poplar and now of Snake Idea Bellstar, but that's definitely a very unconventional way of starting things off. But I think we're just trying to get to Apollousa maybe as quickly as possible.
Yeah, so the scaling of the monsters there for the spell cards means that we can bring out the Snake Idea Bellstar, the Spellcaster. No response from Anthony. There it is. The clutch moment comes down. Apollousa does get established. And there it is. 2 Material Apollousa, a Monster Negate. And, well, we just need to keep playing with the Dia Bellstar. We have Ash Dia Bellstar. Absolutely incredible. All right, the insulated combo now just has to get into the Sinful Spells for the Oak to then go into the Closed Heaven and try and pull off that burn. Time on the round. That's it. No more phases to be completed except this one. Will it be enough? And is this really all Gabriel needs?
Yeah, I mean, if Gabriel is not able to change the life points at all, of course, it's going to go back over to Anthony, as we can't take both of them to the World Championship. But let's see if Gabriel is going for that Lacrima. If he gets to that point, of course, it might as well be over in this turn. There's the Oak coming. Oak is going to use its effect, of course, as well, bringing back either the Oak, the Ash, or the Poplar.
All right, activates the Oak, bringing back the body here. I don't think there's really anything else you can put up in terms of disruption and insulation from any more hand traps. It really is just Apollousa to try and protect that Fiendsmith engine as best as Gabriel can here to try and get that burn damage through.
Yeah, I mean, very clearly what Anthony needs is a way to stop the sequence, to not fusion summon, and then you also need to have a way to stop the Apollousa on top of that. But maybe just a singular impermanence on the sequence might be enough to get him another turn. That could work, honestly. I don't think Anthony is totally out of this just yet, because we saw that he's running so many interactions from his hands, so I could actually see this coming down to another turn here.
Yeah, it may work, honestly. I mean, I can't see like a scenario in which you wouldn't, but I mean, we will soon find out. Gabriel is just taking some time here because you really won't make any mistakes at this point.
Yeah, I mean, time is no longer relevant. Still having to play at a reasonable pace, though, however.
Hold on. Anthony says, looking for the graveyard. So Anthony has not given up on this just yet. He wants to check the graveyard. That, of course, an indicator that maybe Nibiru might be around, and that is the time to drop it. And there it is. Nibiru, the primal being, trying to be negated by the Apollousa. But the Veiler comes down as well. We are still in this, but there's Straza designated for Gabriel. Let's trying to use it on the effect Veiler. No way it is going to resolve.
That's incredible.
Wow. That is crazy. Gabriel,
I think it will actually push through. Nibiru stays in hand. Once per turn, can't be used again, and Veiler negated for the whole turn. And there it is, the Fiendsmith engine has been successfully accessed here. For those wondering what the time procedures are in a top cut situation like this, first damage here would win. Should that not be the case, although I'm struggling to see what Anthony can do from here, should that not be the case, we will be checking the life points at the end of each turn if it was to then pass back to Anthony. And Gabriel here has all but sealed his spot to the World Championship. Does Anthony have any more shockers in his hand to prevent that Lacrima? I mean, it's a lot to ask for, to then have some way to prevent Lacrima and a way to then play on the following turn.
That is true. And I mean, maybe now the decision of Gabriel pays off. He did not include those Angel of the Blue Tears. He did not include those trap cards in his side deck. He went with the approach of playing Crossout Designator as a designated going first card. And here you can see how it pays off. But there is a Druid's Worm on the on the Requins.
Druid's Worm.
Okay.
Wow. Okay. Shuffling, banishing for the sequence here to prevent the fusion summon of Lacrima.
Ooh, that could be good here, actually.
I mean,
maybe it's still not over for Anthony. But there is still the Apollousa ready to negate.
Don't we just Apollousa negate?
I would assume so.
Is there...
No, it's going to be summoned to the field.
Okay.
I mean, okay, I think Gabriel can still just fusion summon. Yeah, I think he can still just perform the fusion summon here.
Yeah, we shuffle back the sorry, the Requiem gets banished, and yeah, no, it doesn't matter. Yeah, you don't need to use your Apollousa. You still have the Fodder required. You got the light Fiend.
Oh, SP Little Knight, and also Chainlink 1 was for Lacrima. Lacrima is the one that can actually bring the life points difference into place here. We're trying to lower the opponent's life points, but 1,200. Gabriel is going to the World Championship by defeating Anthony Lopez here in top 4 of this World Championship points playoff. Oh my. What a deserved winner of a crazy match here.
You know, it's really interesting that the natural reaction there is to just immediately negate that Druid's Worm, but it doesn't matter. You still have the Fodder to be able to go into the Lacrima. Why risk anything else? Activate the Lacrima in the graveyard, protected from the SP Little Knight, from anything silly afterwards, like a Skullmeister maybe. Still insulated from that, and the 1,200 damage comes in. And GG.
What an insane match, honestly, guys. What we have witnessed is unbelievable. Our players played it out incredible well, and also credit to Anthony Lopez in game 2. I think it was over, right?
Yeah.
And I mean,
not only credit to him, he's about to come back. He will still fight another time.
He still has a chance.
It's not over.
It's not over, right? But still, congratulations to Gabriel, who is the first player advancing to the World Championship in Seattle in September. Unbelievable performance for Gabriel. Guys, we will soon be back for round 2 of our semi-final. Don't go anywhere. It's been a pleasure.
We'll just be with you a little bit longer as we have our players set up for the interview just
winner's
now.
interview is just going to come in a moment. But let's praise Gabriel Nets. Of course, the happiest person right now in the entire room. Just qualified the World Championship. Very deserved as well after the season he has showed us. He basically topped every event. And not just that, he went deep in every event. He didn't win a title, but top 8 after top 8 after top 8. It was really amazing to watch him play, consistent in the game for so long now, and now going to the World Championship.
Yeah, very well deserved. I cannot sing the praises of Gabriel enough. You know, such an incredible player who's established himself really well over the last couple of years in the European circuit, even so far as going across the pond in North America, still having achievements and credentials achieved there via the 3 versus 3, some tops as well in Latin America. An all-round player who's proven himself, without a doubt, a very, very deserving player to then represent the United Kingdom and Europe at the World Championship this year. Really exciting, and I can't wait to see just exactly how that plays out. What a match!
I'm so happy for him. Yeah. That was he's also such a nice guy in general, right? He's always smiling. He's such a good representative for us at the World Championship, and I'm very, very sure that he's going to put countless hours into that tournament again, because he's someone that is just working on so many tech cards, working on adapting in the format. He once again found a way to adapt to the tournament today that he played, that he now has also won, because he is going to the World Championship. Let's hear it from the man himself. Let's go over to Gabriel Nets and Ed for the winner's interview.
That's right, I am here with Gabriel Nets, who is now going to the World Championship Series in Seattle. An overwhelmed man. So much emotion on that stage as I went over to congratulate him. Gabriel, how do you feel?
I don't know, there's no good way of describing this. Like, I was trying to be calm as possible while playing, but then like when I realized that last game, when I was like just doing the burn, I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna do it, don't get it wrong, don't get it wrong. We got it there.
I mean, this must be the best feeling in the world, because I don't want to say this, but Nadir did mention it during the commentary. You've had what he called the top 8 curse.
Yeah.
But now, look at you now, who cares about the top 8? You're going to Worlds.
There's no top 8 in the Worlds playoff.
Exactly.
But yeah, and I lost top 8 in Euros last year, so I was 1 game away from Worlds last year. So it feels like finally like
justice has been served.
Exactly.
So let's have a quick talk about that game, because let's go through game 1, because obviously there was a moment like Anthony held off on Imperm until you summoned Appaloosa. So that was a bit of a difficult moment. You were playing very well navigating both the Imperm and possible Nibiru. But then everything sort of carried on. Anthony was playing pretty expertly, but then he scooped. But there was a bit of gear grinding. I think it was... We weren't sure what was going on the stream.
Oh, okay. So basically, like, Anthony, he broke my board because he had, 2 hand traps plus the 3 engines and talents. But I kind of gave his neck actually at the start of the turn. So he didn't have a good way, he couldn't do everything. And so he basically came back to me with all my resources. So he has to scoop there because he knows that I'm going to be able to play.
That's what some of the speculation was backstage, because it all happened so fast that actually even the commentators were saying that Anthony won that round.
Nah, because he would have realized, he realized that, because I have a whole turn, I have my princess, I have everything, so I'm going to be able to play.
Okay, then game 2, there was a huge interaction spree early on, and you were seemingly dominating, but Anthony managed to take control. Then there was the moment with the Appaloosa using 2 heater, but it needs 2 different names, and that was a judge moment. So talk to us about that.
Yeah, the game was really stressful because I bricked. My hand was like Ogre and Flumberge, and he's bricked as well, and I have a point that any draw wins me the game, and I whiff this draw, I draw another Ogre, and I'm like, okay, there's a turn I go normal summon Mochami, and I try to play. And then he goes back to him and he rips a good card, but he makes that Apollo with 2 hitters. The annoying thing is that he played his turn wrong, game 2, and he was coming back to me with the princess in the field, and that's when the stream caught. And then when he went back to him, he was able to fix it and SP my princess. So it was a bit of a punish for me, because it was good for him that he got reversed.
Absolutely, and then so it was therefore 1 apiece, and there wasn't much time left. There was maybe 2 or 3 minutes, and you were playing so quickly because you needed to find that Lacrima. So talk to us about, in a moment like that where the World's Championship is on the line, what's it like when you know the time is shrinking?
Yeah, I mean, the time doesn't matter that much because I'm in my main phase. I know it's going to finish in my main phase. My stress is basically, I draw a really good hand. I'm just trying to figure out what happens if he draws 3-4 hand traps, because I need to guarantee that I can burn with this Lacrimosa. So,
well, there was that one moment with a huge interaction with Nibiru, which you negated with Appaloosa,
Yeah.
which then he did Veiler on, and then you slammed down the crossout designator.
Yeah, so I would be able to negate forehand traps because I had double Bistro in hand, so I had double Bistro saved in case I couldn't get to a Fiendsmith because I could Beatrice dump Fiendsmith and access it that way. So I was thinking about what happens if he has 4, because I'm like, how do I lose this game? The only lose condition is Lacrima not resolving. So,
Right, which then again, you then got out the Lacrima and
and he got there.
you managed to take that win, and it was so exciting. The cameras probably didn't catch it, but you were just full-bodied emotion and celebration. So it must be amazing.
I've thought about this a couple of times. I'm like, I didn't know how to react, and I really like Anthony. I didn't want to like be rude to him, and I really hope he makes it.
Of course,
And then when I was like, God, I want to. It just like it just going out. It was in Portuguese. It was proper, from inside.
Well, congratulations, Gabriel. Honestly, very well deserved. That was a brilliant duel to watch. We still have 2 more duels. We've got the other semi-final coming up very shortly, but then we have to see who's going to get the 3rd and final place from these World Qualifying Points playoffs. Don't go anywhere. I'm going to hand you straight back over to our new commentary team who are going to take you through the next semi-finals.
Thank you so much, Ed. New commentary team. I'm still here, but I'm joined by Tom and Leonard for, of course, the 2nd top 4 match, which is equally as important as we're going to find another person who's going to qualify for the World Championship here.
Yeah, we've been working on our quick change. That was like a swish, you know, I'm Alberto, you're Nadir.
Yeah, and I'm just glad we're here. I was watching from the crowd, and it was
I was about to ask,
electric. Everyone was just so tense. The games were incredibly close, especially with the rewind as well. Everyone was on the edge of their seats, but now this is just going to happen again. We have 2 phenomenal duelists for the next semi-finals. I think they are already set there, and even though I wanted to keep talking for forever, I think we all want to see the duels.
Absolutely. Let's head on over to the table once more as the 2nd World Championship playoff top 4 match is starting now.
Hello again. We're here for that 2nd semi-final of those World Qualifier points. In front of me, I have Guillaume Maron and Baptiste Around, and it is going to be very exciting to see what happens here. We've already seen one of our duelists secure that place at the World Championships, but what's going to happen here? We'll find out very shortly. Gentlemen, we're going to do a high roll. Have you done that already? No? Let's do it now. Okay, let's see. So that is a 5. And that is just... Are you going to go first? Okay, we're going to hand you straight back over to our trio. We've got Leo, Basti, and Tom, who are going to immediately take you straight into this. Let's not waste any more time. Let's see another semi-final and secure that world's position.
Hello from us again. The duelists are ready. We are about to start the 2nd match of the top 4, the next match that is going to determine another World Championship participant. So, I'll have the honors. It's time to duel!
And there we have them. This time around, we're going to have 2 French players, meaning 1 French player certainly going to the World Championship here between Guillaume and Baptiste, both having fabulous seasons as well, of course. Baptiste Derouin, for example, being the national champion of the Netherlands, even though he's French, and he's starting things off here by activating Fiendsmith's Tract.
That's a big win for France there, taking the...
He's a fellow fake Dutchman. I know a thing about that.
I mean, the French players had to go somewhere else because their own nationals were won by Anthony Lopez, which is, of course, from Luxembourg. So Baptiste, though, also one of those players that I just love to watch as he's just really, really good with whatever deck he touches. He's just playing things out perfectly. And honestly, while looking at his deck list here right now, he found an approach that a lot of others have completely disregarded. Even though other people have been struggling to find 15 extra deck cards to implement, he found cards other people have not even considered. For example, there's a Nightmare Griffin in his extra deck and plenty of other things you wouldn't really expect from him here.
Yeah, I mean, that's a tech choice I've heard people talking about. So instead of using Beatrice to send Angel of Blue Tears to the graveyard, you can instead send Skill Drain and then pick it back up with the Nightmare Griffin, which is quite a cool thing to do to get access to your Skill Drain anytime you want it.
I mean, it doesn't hurt you as much as a DDG, a different dimension drop, because if you activate this at the start of your turn, you're also going to lose plenty of resources in the process, so it might open you up to some mistakes. The Skill Drain, you're just going to wait out and then send it as cost with Ash or Oak. So I also really like this play. What I also saw in this extra deck is that he's actually running the Raging Phoenix and the Zealantis, and we have just seen with Anthony versus Gabriel this is kind of necessary as well. You can't really break the field of your opponent and push through an OTK or even any kind of damage if your opponent builds up a huge field just consisting of a few monsters. So you kind of need this power to finish games if you're going second.
That is indeed the case. It almost feels like Baptiste took a more of an traditional approach, I'm sorry, because he's actually also playing cards like 1-for-1 in his main deck, which you wouldn't really see that much anymore. He's using a technology that Lorenzo Muselli, for example, used to win the Italian Nationals by implementing Skill Drain into his main deck, actually. And yeah, a couple of very, very interesting decisions. And I mean, if you want to, out of those 16 high-skilled, high-profile players in the World's Playoff, want to make it to the World Championship, of course, you've got to make some decisions being ahead of the curve, and maybe those were the decisions that Baptiste made here.
Yeah, I like the skill drain in the main deck, because you can just draw it, it's fine.
Yeah.
Against almost anything except maybe Labyrinth.
Fair enough. And I mean, also, technically, you can set it with the Griffin, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So there is an effect Veiler on the sequence here, though. So Baptiste being stopped from fusion summoning, so he was well into his Fiendsmith engine here, but now the crucial part of getting the fusion monsters out onto the field has been stopped. And actually, as we were talking about so many tech cards that he has decided to run in the extra deck, he, on the other end, has decided to not play 2 fusion monsters, but only play the Fiendsmith Lacrima and not the Desiree.
Oh, that is completely crazy to me.
I can kind of get it, because Desiree is just a little win more, because it's like an additional piece on your end field. You're just going to get there if you don't need to extend with the Lacrima, but usually you just want to go with Lacrima, and I think, therefore, that decision certainly is justifiable to me.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to cut something, right? You can't just run more cards, much as we'd all like to, you know?
I mean, some people in the tournament have been making the use of side deck spots for the extra deck cards, but that's also something that Baptiste did not do.
I find the only thing that is problematic about cutting the Desiree is that then your Fiendsmith engine basically just becomes something that is supporting your Snake Eye engine, and is also not something that adds something to the field. So if your opponent has a really good hand going second, they can actually maybe overturn the game.
Yeah. Well, you add the skill drain to the field, right? That's the...
That's a fair point.
All right.
That should do the trick normally.
But let's see. We are going to link off the Snake Eye Diabalsa and the Celine, usually going for an Appaloosa, and also here in that case resulting in exactly that. So Baptiste, Appaloosa ready to negate 2 monster effects somewhere. But first of all, I believe we're going to activate the effect of the Engraver now in the graveyard, putting one of his extra deck monsters back into the extra deck and summoning itself out.
I don't think we have gone through IP Masquerena or the Promethean Princess yet, so there is a lot of combo to be done now.
Absolutely. Baptiste can now just go for the regular Snake Eye stuff, being protected by that Appaloosa, already forcing out that one effect Veiler. And honestly, if Guillaume would know that there is no Desiree in the opponent's deck, maybe Veiling the sequence is not as good anymore, because as you were just saying, like the Fiendsmith part here in the deck of Baptiste kind of is just there to do more with the Snake Eye cards.
I mean, then there would be a skill drain.
Oh yeah, you're right. That's fair. That would probably result in that.
And just adding these Fiends with it makes the deck so much more powerful, right? Just the Veiler, you can no longer just use it on
but there is
Blossom.
infinite impermanence now.
That's a big one.
Yeah, and that honestly has been a trend here in this tournament, that we see people holding those hand interactions for a little longer, because when we were watching Snake Eye mirror matches at the beginning of the format, it was very common to see, hey, Effect Veil on the first thing I'm seeing, Ash Blossom on the first thing I'm seeing as well that I can Ash, but it has been a lot more common that people were holding their interactions, going after stuff that is later on in the combo.
And I think that is rather interesting. Okay, all right, we're seeing a Raging Phoenix. Are we going to see the Zelantis as well now, or is this just a preparation to summon a fire monster and tap Promethean Princess in the graveyard? Nope, we're going to...
Are we just going to pass on no
protect.
fire monster? That would be interesting to see.
Now you have the Temple and the Poplar.
I quite like Zelantis. It's kind of like the Nightmare Phoenix. People use it to protect your Appaloosa from battle, and it serves a similar purpose.
Yeah, the new school Link Kuribo kinda. But let's see. We are going to pass on that. That is a very minimalistic Anfield, to be fair, here by Baptiste. Guillaume has 4 cards in hand trying to break this, and he starts off by activating Bonfire, grabbing a potential Snake Eye Ash or Poplar here, and that does resolve.
I find this kind of interesting, because now you talked about the shift in when to throw hand traps against the deck.
Yeah.
It seems like the combo route that you're going with the Fiendsmith cards is a little bit more fragile against hand traps, you know? You're basically not losing anymore to the first hand trap that is being thrown and you can't play on after Ash because you have so many extenders. However, the just 1-for-1 hand traps like Effect Veiler and Permanence, they do a lot more damage basically against your combo.
Agreed. Totally agreed. So we have decided on the Snake Eye Ash, and that is also, of course, going to be normal summoned. Baptiste checking his graveyard here, but I would be surprised if something from the graveyard is going to answer a normal summon. But we may as well use the Appaloosa, which we do.
The question was also, when are you going to use the Temple? Because you're going to play into a triple tactic Talents now anyways.
Yeah, we did that. I mean, we had to decide on one of the two things, right?
True.
So are we just going to link off and go into Anima? Because Anima would mean, even though Visilantes was there to protect in the battle phase, that the Tunic Gates of the Appaloosa might still be very quickly gotten out here.
Yep, and now we summon out the Poplar immediately. Now this is very good by Guillaume because, as we said, there was no fire monster before on the field, so you can't Promethean Princess the Anima.
Yeah, that's true. So Guillaume very clearly going to use that effect of Anima now as well to just set things clear. And Baptiste, Mastery Lie maybe on the cards, but he still has in hand. Yeah, we are negating with Appaloosa. Very obvious negate there. We just don't want to give it up like that. And there is triple tactic Talons. What of those, or which of these three so powerful effects are we going to use here? We're just going to take over Visilantes there. Okay.
That's interesting. You can't banish it, right? Because then your opponent gets the Zelantis back?
Absolutely.
I thought that maybe you would want to take the Appaloosa with still 800 attack points to possibly...
I don't think it has any attack points.
No, it doesn't have it.
It had before you activate the Anima.
That's true.
So I think you could have activated the talents before, take over the Appaloosa, and then maybe try to play on with it.
Fair,
instead of going into Anima.
Okay, but we have just decided to take over Zelantis. We're now in the battle phase. Zelantis is not going to use its effect because, funnily enough, we could use the effect of Zelantis here as the Anima and the Appaloosa are co-linked, in fact, and therefore that would have been a possible way to do it. Maybe now, because we just waited for them to also activate the effect of Poplar, and now after we have cleared the two monsters, we can still, of course, as we're still in the battle phase, use the effect of Zelantis. So we're making good use of the Zelantis here that we took over.
Yep, and now, of course, we can go into the close sky, because two monsters equal a great old combo. Fiendsmith combo, or Snake Eye combo, whatever you will.
Kind of both.
Yeah.
One thing kind of nicely transitions into the other. But when Baptiste is looking at his hand, I think he has 4 cards in hand. And I mean, when your deck is consisting half of hand interactions, you are very likely to see some of those. And also his combo was kind of done quickly, so I think it's almost a certain thing to say that he's going to have more stuff coming here from his hand.
Does he
supporting his end field.
Also still have the spell in the graveyard? The Sinful Spoils, the original Sinful Spoils?
I mean, he should, yeah.
I think it's in his hand, no?
Oh, really? Did he never use it?
Well, Poplar added it.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely added.
Oh, right, yeah.
But did he never use it? Maybe he never used it, you might be right. But there is Beatrice now, first of all, for Guillaume. 2 level 6 monsters turning into the Eternal Lady, and there's Effect Veiler being used on it.
I like someone to put Dante in their extra deck, so you can summon it off Beatrice.
But the Pilgrim, you know?
Yeah, the big one. Yeah, not the small one.
Of course. Is there anything else we can do? Guillaume putting his cards back into the extra deck, meaning he's giving up the game, right?
Yeah.
That is going to be the game number 1 for Baptiste Derouin, being 1 game away from the World Championship now. That was just unexpected. He just picked up his cards there, and it's over there.
I liked how quickly he checked his graveyard effect, after the Effect Veiler resolved to just check, hey, do I even have any more options? Nope! No, let's go into
there was
the next
nothing.
one.
I guess he probably knew when he was figuring out what to do that turn that he would lose to any sort of interruption. But sometimes you just have to do it and see what your opponent's got, right? Just because they've got 4 cards, it doesn't mean they've got any interruptions sometimes.
That is true. Most of the time.
Most of the time. But, you know, there's no point losing to stuff if it's not there.
That is true. And I mean, this is again an example. Like, you invest so much into this Beatrice, Lady of the Eternal, that if it gets Effect Veilered, you basically lose hard. There was still this Appaloosa on the field of Baptiste, so that wasn't really follow-up. However, we weren't in the battle phase anymore, so this is a face-up card that is something you can send away with the original Sinful Spoils.
Yeah, absolutely. So honestly, the field of Baptiste didn't look that great, but it really provided enough for him to win there. And that one effect Veiler was totally enough to then seal it for him. And I think just looking at his hand there, I think I saw Nibiru as well and a Ghost Ogre. So he was really prepared for a lot of things there, and he only needed one of those. And now going second, I could say he probably needs 2 or 3 of those to be in competition there.
Yeah, I mean, Guillaume had also had to use multiple cards before, so he was only going into the turn with 4 cards.
Yeah, that is indeed
And
true.
he had to use 1 talent to actually take over the Zilantis. Then the Ash Blossom was negated immediately. Apparently he also, maybe he top-decked the Veiler. Also didn't help if he was playing with 4 cards.
True.
So there was just only 1 card left, and I think that was something of the Fiendsmith engine?
Yeah,
No?
probably. But like, let's quickly analyze the situation again, because we were all kind of surprised by him taking over Zilantis, right? In the first place, like, I like the option of just taking the Appaloosa before you activate the... I mean, you don't even have to summon Anima at that point anymore if you just... Because the Snake Eye Ash on the field could have still used its effect, because it wasn't Imperm or anything negating it, but just the Appaloosa. So taking over that Appaloosa and having it as a negate really seems like a pretty good option. And I mean, Zilantis really just destroyed the field spell. And I mean, we could have other ways to deal with that, right?
What you could have also done is take over the Appaloosa, then go into Anima and take the Zilantis, because it's pointing at the Zilantis after that.
Where was the... No, I thought Zilantis was parked.
No, they were calling to protect
Appaloosa.
it. And you
Oh,
just
yeah,
go
yeah,
after
it
the
was, it
extra...
was.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
that
like
would
that a
have been
lot.
fun.
However, it also doesn't really do anything else except for removing the Appaloosa from the field, and it really looked like Guillaume didn't have another way to summon out a monster onto the field. Maybe he had another hand trap in hand that he couldn't use the turn before, which just means that he basically only had 2 monsters to play. And yes, you can get a lot of 2 monsters from the field with the Moon, but if there is a hand trap, there is a hand trap.
That is indeed the case. So the duel between the 2 French players here, the 2 French people that made it into this top 4 playoff after being the most represented nation here among those top 16 players. They were the most successful nation throughout the grind, throughout the season. And I think 8 of them made it into the playoff. And now we already have 1 person from the UK with Gabriel Nets qualifying. And then, of course, Anthony Lopez there, as being Luxembourgish, is also waiting to have another chance against the loser of this match. But first of all, we're going to send 1 French person, and we can find out whether that's going to be Baptiste by winning this game, or whether Guillaume is still competing in this. Back over to the table, game number 2 coming here.
All right, the cards are drawn. Who is going to start? I would assume that it's going to be Guillaume. Can he combo off, or will Baptiste find the necessary hand traps to stop him and then retaliate with a Snake Eye Ash as well? This looks like an interesting hand. It's a very, very green hand.
I was going to say, that's a lot of spells.
All right, Snake Eye Ash, though, is a good card to start things off with, but it does get met with effect Veiler immediately, and then there's triple tactic talent to have a quick look, and now we can see it all. 4 green cards, as you were just saying. That's 4 spell cards.
And you don't like it when your opponent does the looksies. This is very, very tough, because it kind of means that there is... Are we fist bumping again? No. that there is follow-up in the hand of Guillaume. There will probably be a way to summon another monster. And Engraver discard also ensures that now Guillaume knows, hey, there is nothing to stop me this turn. I can just pop off.
Yeah. Interesting decision to see that we go after the triple tactic talents, because the only real scary card to me was the Wanted there, because Wanted is going to give engine in some way.
It was tracked as well.
I mean, yeah, but that doesn't really accomplish that much, does it? Like, you can get to, of course, you can get to the Fiendsmith part of your deck, but it's only going to be Requiem, and that's not that much on its own, right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess once you know the talents is gone, that's the kind of thing that can sometimes flip the game on its head. Whereas if you see your opponent's hand, they've got a couple of pushes, but now you know you're going to have multiple interruptions. You might as well just say, okay, he's not going to have that swingy card.
You're right, you're right.
Just,
Also, that Happiest Feather Duster, though, interesting decision to be included in general, I would say, because that's not really the card I would be looking to include into my deck in this top 16 playoff. I mean, against decks like Labyrinth, of course, which we have also seen in the playoff, that would have been kind of cool, but here in this matchup, I'm not even really sure.
I mean, the French players usually test a lot with each other.
Yeah.
Does Guillaume also play something? No, he plays different dimension ground, right? So even that is not an argument for the Harpy's Feather Duster. If he was on the skill drain technology as well, I would have definitely understood that he's siding in Harpy's Feather Duster.
And actually, Baptiste's deck list is really, really tailored towards those back row decks, because we see triple Cosmic Cyclone in there as well. And also,
That's
an
a
all-star
perfect
of all
choice, by
time,
the way.
Eldritch the Golden Lord is in there too. So he's really making some interesting decisions. His whole deck seems absolutely perfectly designed for this playoff environment. He apparently got the memo that a couple of people are also going to be on the Labyrinth deck, so he's widely spread. He's very well prepared for all kind of different decks, for all the different decks here in the tournament.
And I just want to mention that the amount of 3 Cosmic Cyclones is the perfect amount.
I do know that you would say that, but he only has to overcome one more deck, one more opponent if he wants to go to the World Championship, because if he can seal this duel, or maybe the third one, he is going to be the person qualifying from these two.
Actually, it kind of looks more like maybe the next one, because this is not looking too strong, but we don't want to judge too early here.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be up on life points. What more is there to ask for? It's very important sometimes being up on life points, as we saw at the end of the last match.
I mean, Guillaume is just playing against no hand traps anymore. He knows that. That is also a very important factor, because he just doesn't have to make any unnecessary plays there. No precautionary steps to go, hey, I would rather want to commit this card to the field, but I'm afraid of an Nibiru, I'm afraid of an Ash Blossom, so I'm just rather going to not do that for safety. Doesn't need to. He can take risks, because he knows there are no risks.
There are no cards to be awaited. And this could really turn out to be the story of this points playoff, that the people that made top 8 last year in the main event and then heartbrokenly lost. Gabriel Netz, the first one, and then also Baptiste Deron on the other hand, because he made top 8 in last year's European Championship. So close to the World Championship, but yet so far not making their way to Japan last year. And now this year it might be those people immediately going through in the semi-finals, this time around making their way to the World Championship.
I mean, you have to say he's got to be pretty happy with how this game is going. It is always good to get that, you know, win after you lose the first round. I mean, obviously, otherwise the game's over, but, you know.
Yeah, and I mean, it's Baptiste who's a game up, who's had that run last year. But now it's on Guillaume, of course, trying to come back into this as well.
Now, I want to see what his perfect combo is here. Of course, the effect Veiler was an interruption in the beginning, so he had to take some different steps. This is also something that is really important for combo decks. You know, for each single hand trap that there is in the game, you have to know how to play on after it interrupted you.
Yeah, absolutely. And Guillaume, another one of the players that has decided to actually use his side deck as kind of an extension of his extra deck, because he did not only include 1, not 2, but 3 cards from his side deck as extra deck cards. So there's Access Code Talker, Consular Ptolemy M7 actually, and also Dark the Dark Charmer. So he has the option to be flexible with his 15-card extra deck after side decking.
Yeah, M7's quite an interesting choice. I'm not really sure I understand like what it's for. I mean, I know what it does, but like people side it in going first, right, to maybe add some resources back. But
yeah, maybe just adding back an Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring that you used on a Molcharmi or something. I mean, I could see that potentially. That could be kind of cool. But right now, Guillaume is in the middle of his combo. And honestly, you would expect him to kind of go by default right now, because he knows Baptiste can't interact with him. He can just completely pull off his combo here. There already is a Celine on the field, making you think that probably an Appaloosa isn't too far away either.
Yeah. I was thinking at first he could go for a 4-material Appaloosa, but that wouldn't have been too smart. There is still the Harpy's Feather Duster waiting, and you can't rely on that Temple, because it would have been a really cool first turn to go IP and Appaloosa into the extra monster zone and then have the Temple set up. However, if you know that your Temple
we're
won't
passing
take
it over here,
no
though.
IPs here.
Okay, Leo, you said you would love to see the full combo that Guillaume can do, but if that is the full combo that he has lined up, then that's not too much, honestly.
He's actually playing around the Harpy's Feather Duster, because I think the better combo on paper would have been the IP in the main monster zone, going for a 4-material Appaloosa earlier, summoning back 2 monsters, go IP, and then wait for the first normal summon to summon out Oak again, have all the materials, all the resources. However, as I said, Feather Duster kind of denies that whole thing, and now we're actually keeping the Feather Duster, saying, hey, what are we even saying here?
Discard it, yeah.
We are basically also a little bit threatening a Talons, so that if our opponents... I'm not too sure actually what we're doing here, why we haven't activated it, but let's see.
Could just be doing this in this draw phase, just in case of
fair point.
Tron Lockbird.
It's a very good point, actually.
But I mean, also the Wanted was known, so we may as well just activate that first. Let's see whether they have an Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, and then we can re-evaluate our moves after. So I actually do like starting with this here right now. And the question is going to be, when are we revealing the unknown? All right, we are discarding the Harpiest Feather Duster.
That is a very fair point.
Appaloosa is going to use its effect to negate the effect of the Black Witch.
So are we going to kick now?
Maybe we have just picked up another copy of Turbo Tactic Talents here. Let's see. There is that one unknown card we drew for turn. But first of all, the battle phase is going to happen.
That is so odd, because, I mean, we know that there is Tracked in hand. And it can just be activated now. And this field that Guillaume put out, it just knew that it was going to lose against Wanted and Tracked.
Still got the Princess in the graveyard.
Oh, there is the Tracked now.
True.
And I love how Baptiste is holding back on the one card he has in hand. He doesn't want to give away that free info just yet. Maybe that is the card that he did need eventually. Maybe that is going to be a triple tactic talents again to provide even further pressure onto Guillaume. But first of all, we're going to use the Tracked. Of course, Search of the Lurry. The Fabled Lurry is such an old card now. Again, being the centerpiece of attention with the Fiendsmith strategy. Coming back to the field, and the Princess is going to go after the Lurry here.
Yeah, I love sometimes when just an old card just becomes super relevant just out of nowhere.
It's actually beautiful. Okay, Flamberge Dragon was destroyed for the Princess as well, and therefore it's going to use its graveyard effect to bringing out Ash and Poplar, providing follow-up for the upcoming turn 2.
So will Baptiste be able to use his last card?
One card in hand. Is it going to be... He hasn't normal summoned anything. If this is a Molcharmi or anything, you would want to normal summon this and go into the moon. There's also one more card in the hand of Guillaume. Now there's 3, but still.
Yeah, he's going to get the Oak as well. He's got so many resources.
For a second, it looked like he's packing up, and now he is packing up indeed.
It wasn't even a hand trip. What card could it have been that does nothing in this situation? Is it a Flamberge? Is it a Snake Eyes Diabellstar? Which card in this situation is so useless?
Maybe another Witch. Witch card, another Witch.
Ah, fair enough.
That could be that. But yeah, no way of extending there for Baptiste, meaning it is going to all go down into a third and final game. First semi-final. We had a real photo finish with a third game coming as well. But this time, again a third game coming, but a lot more time on the clock. So this one probably going to play out a little longer. And we're potentially going to see a couple more turns going down.
Yeah, that's always exciting for people, I think. I mean, obviously time brings tension and drama, but it's always nice to see the players play out the game to the fullest of their capabilities.
Yeah. I mean, Baptiste is just generally just such a quick player. He's acting so quick, he's playing so quick. So usually you rarely go to see him in timeout, from my personal experience at least, when I was always watching him play.
The thing is, the last match, it was so back and forth. Nets versus Lopez. It was, in Germany, we say a Krimi, a crime story, basically. Don't know how that translates, so I should probably have brought it up. However, this was amazing. There was so much back and forth. Both players took multiple turns. You could really see how their brains were thinking, how they would have to find a way to solve the puzzle that their opponent is presenting them. And this time we just had basically a combo, and then that was a very quick forfeit of saying, hey, I can't play through this because I don't have the necessary cards.
Honestly, in the first top 4 match, in all 3 games, I mean in the third one not necessarily, but in game 1 and game 2, and both of these we couldn't really tell who would be winning throughout the duel, so both really had their shot. But here, this one already kind of felt very, very much going to the direction of Guillaume when he activated that triple tactic talents, right? That was really, really favorable for him. And I now want to see whether Baptiste is going to be able to pull off that Nightmare Griffin combo in game number 3, because I kind of want to see that setting the skill drain, maybe setting something else, because he's also bringing in cards like Anti-Spell Fragrance from his side deck too, so we could also go after that. And I like to see that the Fiendsmith cards are so flexible in what they can provide, and that is also an option you can go with.
It's absolutely insane, isn't it? You can set any trap from your deck in 2 different ways.
Absolutely, yeah. You can decide which way to go. I mean, Guillaume even would have another way of just using the M7 and taking it back. Or can M7 only go after monsters? Okay, it's only monsters. Sad, okay. One last moment.
I don't know if you can make Beatrice and then M7. That might be a bit much to
yeah,
ask.
it might be a stretch here, right?
If you have the neck equip in the extra deck, I think you can.
You probably can, yeah, I agree. It is actually possible. But now this third game is going to be really, really intense. I mean, now with also the use of the side deck in the first semi-final, we saw the Mulcharmi Perulia having a huge impact.
Yeah.
Actually, Baptiste not running it, but he's not the one going second here, but Guillaume is, and he does run it in his side deck, so we might see it one more time here. This card, honestly, might become one of the cards of the weekend, honestly. I'm expecting a lot from Mulcharmi Perulia. I think we will see it plenty, and we may see it here again in this third and final game between Guillaume Marron and Duran Baptiste. So let's go over to the table. Game 3 starting here now.
All right, Baptiste still checking his deck, drawing the first 5 cards. It's all in his hands. It is such a huge advantage to go first in Game 3. There's still 20 minutes on the clock. He can just combo off now if Guillaume doesn't find the right cards. The age-old question is, does Guillaume have the answers?
All right, and off we go. Baptiste starting things off here, carefully considering his opening hand. And, and there is the Perulia. I told you, but there's the Ash Blossom and Joy Spring to answer it right away by Baptiste. Drawing would be involved in the resolution of the effect of Mulcharmi Perulia, and therefore we can use Ash Blossom and Joy Spring onto it.
Baptiste just went, how rude of you to interrupt me. Ash Blossom, now I normal summon.
Yep. And that is, of course, very, very, very strong for Baptiste. 1 card less to care about. And also, of course, still a way to combo for him.
Not the ideal start there with just the Poplar, but we'll see what he can do.
Yeah, I also think that you would never really want to start with just Poplar anymore, so maybe
Unless
there's not too much follow-up.
Yep. Unless you have to. There is Snake Eye Ash, and there's Effect Veiler for that too. Okay.
But now there's still 2 monsters, so this is already infinite times better than before the Infinite Forbidden.
That's true. Good pun there by you, Leo.
Wasn't even
first
planned.
one today.
Wasn't even planned.
But let's see whether Baptiste is even going to go down that route here. Oh! Triple Tactic Talents on top of the Ash Blossom and Joy Spring. Let's check out whether there is something waiting. There was a Magnum and an Impermanence.
Guillaume probably saw this hand and thought, hey, how could I possibly lose this game? The answer is Ash Blossom and then all the other things that happen, because this is looking good for Baptiste. Which card are you getting rid of here? Actually, all of these cards are...
the Magnamute.
Oh, yes, okay. We're going to play against 1 Impermanence.
Hey, how well can we play against the 1 Impermanence with just what we have left?
Sure.
Baptiste is going to show us, I guess.
He has 2 cards in hand left.
That's true, that's true. But no normal summon.
That is correct.
So going into his extra deck, deciding which route to go.
I just still like that he took away the Magnamute, because with Magnamute you can do a lot more than with a discarded Impermanence, and there's only Engraver in hand. So Baptiste, to actually, if he even gets stopped, he doesn't really need too much to stop the turn from Guillaume.
I think so as well. I think the actual fact that the Bestials and Magnamute specifically is a level 6 monster, which then also adds another level 6 monster, which equals Beatrice on its own, is so scary that I think you kind of have to go after the Magnamute there. But we are going for Engraver first of all here through the Requiem that was summoned after the link to the Closed Moon hit the field, or Moon of the Closed Heaven rather.
So what is the line here?
Oh, track being activated now by Baptiste too. And Guillaume so far just really holding his interactions. And I mean, in game number 1, he decides to imperm the sequence. So maybe that's just going to be the case again. Honestly, I could see it.
Yeah, it's a curious line here. I guess it is interesting to figure out like what is always the best way to sequence your cards, because that Lurie could have been a Requiem by itself. You like that one?
Yeah, I loved that one.
And are we? Yes, that is going to be the Fiendsmith sequence. And indeed, Guillaume has held his Impermanence for that. But now Baptiste in the graveyard may as well just use the effect of Tracked, right? Because that is also still in there. But first of all, Engraver is going to be used, recycling the Requiem to summon itself out of the field again.
The question is what he now does with it, because even a Promethean Princess
sounds
would
about
do too
right.
much. There is not even anything. You don't have Ash or Oak in the graveyard, so you can't really do too much. I think you basically end up on Princess plus Raging Fire if you're going for this line.
There is the Princess, so that one was decided on. Let's bring back the Ash too. Is that really going to be a Snake Eye turn where we're not going to... Yeah, there was Ash for sure.
Of course, it got Veiled.
Yeah, but are we going to have a way to the Flamberge Dragon as well? Because we kind of need another card to send, don't we?
I mean, we just sent the Princess.
Yeah, but then the Flamberge is just alone on the field.
Yeah,
we have Oak
and it's
now.
kind of lonely, and that doesn't really sound like a good plan.
Oak doesn't even bring anything back. It just sends itself to the graveyard immediately. We summon out the Flamberge, but now the thing is that we have more follow-up than before. So if we pass on Flamberge, put something into the spell trap.
That sounds crazy.
Apparently, yep, we want to fully correctly do this. Summon back the Ash, summon out the Flamberge. Now try to save some seconds within that. He lost some seconds. Flamberge is just going to put one more resource into the spell trap zone, I would assume.
Probably Snake Eye Ash, right? Which provides the best follow-up.
Well, you can summon the Ash from the graveyard, so maybe you put in the regular Ash. Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring instead, because that's not going to come back
I mean,
off
what is that going to do in the spell trap zone? It's a difficult choice for sure.
So,
don't think it matters too much.
might be one of the weirdest looking Snake Eye Anfields here in this last and deciding game, because it does look like just Flamberge pass. There is a Snake Eye monster, and there's also Anti-Spell now. Anti-Spell Fragrance confidently being flipped by Baptiste.
But is that so good?
Oh yeah, it shuts off the Fiendsmith, right?
It does
shut
shut
off. You can't use
the
Fiendsmith
tracks.
tracks.
Oh, that's a very good point.
Oh! And that is Baptiste qualifying for the World Championship here by overcoming his French friend Guillaume Maron.
The fragrance was completely insane. You're absolutely right. Shutting down the complete engraver engine there. That was just too much there. You said it. It was a weird-looking Snake Eye Enfield.
For sure.
But when has Fragrance, for the last time when it was flipped, not decided the game?
When your opponent has Mystical Space Typhoon.
Oh, that's a very good point. Samir Bashar, 2016, in this very venue, by the way.
Oh, okay. But yeah, that was definitely a deserved qualification. So the story, as I was already trying to get there, is actually fulfilling of the people that last year in the main event were so close by getting top 8, are now making their way straight. They don't even have to go into that very, very emotional third place playoff game that we're about to have later on, or just after this actually. And therefore we now have Gabriel Nats and also Baptiste de Rohan qualifying. Very deserved.
And the next match, which is going to decide who's the third person to qualify on this very Friday.
Yeah.
Anthony Lopez is a fantastic player. He has had a fantastic season. Guillaume as well. I've just seen them. They were talking to each other after the game that Anthony lost against Gabriel. It was a very heated up discussion. Both of them, I think they know each other quite well.
Yeah.
So this is going to be very emotional there.
Yeah,
for sure.
I mean, sometimes after you come out, if you've lost a particularly important game, you completely hammer it. You think all the different ways you could have played it to see what could have happened. So maybe that's what they were talking about, or maybe, I mean, who knows? In that moment.
Yeah, Anthony also, of course, honorable French, because he won the French Nationals.
True.
Also, I'm pretty sure he's fluent in French, as he is in German and English, so he's like speaking all the languages, which I don't know whether that's going to help him now in the third place playoff, of course, because he needs to speak the language of cards here for that, to qualify for the World Championship of Yu-Gi-Oh! But yeah, Baptiste does not have to worry about that anymore, because that guy, he's already qualified for Worlds. Must be nice, right?
Qualifying for the World Championship. This is every Yu-Gi-Oh! Player's dream, basically. Once you achieve the status of a World Champion participant, you're a legend of the game.
Yeah.
You're immortalized.
You can retire. Kinda, you can. But of course, who better to ask about that than the person himself going, let's go over to Ad and our winner, Baptiste, for the winner's interview.
Hello guys, I am here with our second World Championship qualifier. Baptiste de Rohan is here. Baptiste, you're now going to the World Championship Series in Seattle. How does that feel?
Oh, that's incredible. I missed the Worlds last year from one match. I lost in top 8, so it feels very special this time.
You've got justice. You're going.
Yeah,
It's brilliant.
okay.
So talk to us about that game because, you know, like you say, it didn't make it last year.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
a lot of pressure on you in this.
Yeah.
So talk to us about how you mentally keep in the game.
Yeah, I think I was mentally good, like not really stressed. I made a few mistakes during the match, but I was okay.
It was a much quicker game, we
Yeah, for
noticed,
sure.
and even the commentators were saying this because our last one, it went all the way into time.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
guys, you just managed to get through it. Let's go through some of these. Sort of the main points. Game one, Guillaume just couldn't play through your Appaloosa in game one, and more than that, but that was sort of the main bullet
Yeah,
point.
I mean, I had a weak board because he imperm Velomi. I thought he would use them more quickly because my opening hand was really weak. It was like Lurie and Oak, but I had entraps to back this up.
And then game two, you didn't have much of a way to extend, so you just scooped.
Yeah, I think I used my Velar too early because I had a really good hand to play going second. I would have used it on a sequencer, I don't know.
So that's the end of game two, and there was lots of time left in the round. So when you're under that much pressure, it's one game apiece, and you have to win. What's going through your mind?
Oh, I don't know if I would have wanted to go into time because I have three Spooky Dogwood in the side. So I was pretty confident because I said a lot going first. Skill Drain, Cross Out, Anti-Spell, of course.
Let's talk about anti-spell, because that was a moment where people were going, the commentator said, oh, I don't know what that would help. And one of them goes, well, it shuts out the entire engine. Pass turn, you flip it over, and you just watched him melt.
Yeah, it was only like top deck Snake Ayash would have made it play, but a lot of follow-up, and I knew the Engraver, which is a spell pretty much.
I mean, congratulations once again, a brilliant game. What's going through your mind now? Now that you've achieved Worlds, what are you going to do with the rest of your weekend?
Oh, I guess I will enjoy it more. I will play a main event, of course, but it will be really nice, really appreciable tournament.
Well, congratulations again.
Thank you.
We'll be seeing you in Seattle, making your way to that World Championship. Maybe you'll even take it home. Very exciting. Congratulations again. Guys, that's not it. We still have one more game because now the third and fourth place are going to battle it out to see which one of them is also going to be joining Baptiste and Gabriel in Seattle. We're going to hand you back over to our amazing commentators because we're soon going to get into that feature match.
Guillaume Marron versus Anthony Lopez is going to be the highest stakes game that you could ever imagine in Yu-Gi-Oh! Both of them were grinding for the entire season to get those points, to be here and play this top 16 tournament. And now they're on the brink of either elimination or entering the World Championships.
The stakes don't come higher than this. I mean, after losing a World's spot, and then having a second chance, I mean, the nerves through these players must be absolutely at boiling point. I can't imagine how it feels to be in this position. What an incredible match we have oncoming, though.
No, honestly, I mean, this is like a nerve-wracking match, I'm not gonna lie. And I mean, both of our players now know what they're up against, and they saw other, how they played out, and honestly, yeah, it's going to be very difficult, especially because we saw how good these players are and how they perform throughout the tournament. And honestly, like, I don't really know who is going to advance because both of our players showed us incredible things throughout the, throughout the day. Guys, honestly, I'm scared. I'm more scared than them, I think.
That is true. I mean, Anthony looked so intimidating when he was playing through Gabriel Ness's field. The only thing that was really lacking was this extra deck power to push through a field, because Gabriel just sat on a lot of resources and was able to basically survive the turn.
I do quite like the approach that Anthony has had to his side deck compared to some of the other Snake Eye players. A lot of people have been loading up on a ton of more hand traps, really. But Anthony sort of focused on the stealing aspect, with the mind controls, Change of Heart, which we did already see get showcased by him. So, I think like being able to take something like an Appaloosa could be absolutely huge. And I do really like his deck list here. We'll see if it pays off. Another opportunity, another chance to qualify. And again, as you mentioned, this is the highest stake that exists right now, is this third place match for that spot. It looks like our players are just about ready to begin. So I think we'll head on over to the table.
I think we're missing Ed still, who can start the dice roll. So
yes.
This is why I've been trying to constantly look to the side.
Ed's just never doing his job, is he?
Exactly, Ed. Where are you? No, but we can talk a little bit more about the game that is coming up, because we have seen so far that the dice roll in this Fiendsmith Snake Eye mirror match is in fact kind of important.
A wee bit, yeah, that's true. Although we have seen some reverse sweeps occur on some of the streams, especially the pre-recorded footage, which you guys will be able to check if you're watching this live, of course. Then, you know, you've showed up at the right time. But if you've missed any of the Swiss action, there will be an opportunity to check out some of these games that we've pre-recorded for you available on the Yu-Gi-Oh! Card EU YouTube channel. So yeah, lots of action to take away from that as well. Of course, this is only day 0. I mean, if you think about it, there's still the main event to be played. Tomorrow, Saturday, will be live from about 10 a.m., I think. So lots of action this weekend. Make sure you guys do follow on the social media to be kept up to date with that.
I mean, we're not crowning a European champion here, but I mean, it is hard to also not call this a main event, because this is what the entire community has been eyeing for 1 year now. Everyone has been checking on these points. They're just calculating in those communities, and they're wondering who ends up making it to the top 16, who can go to Worlds, and this is what we're about to figure out, because we're going over to the table to Ed.
Thank you very much, guys. Yes, we are here for this final round of these World Point qualifiers right here. In front of me, I have Guillaume Moron and Anthony Lopez. You've seen them both in our last 2 semi-finals. And without wishing to put too much pressure on it, this is the last chance. Only one of these 2 amazing duelists will be making their way to Seattle for the World Championships in September. It's very exciting, but obviously also quite nerve-wracking. We are in for a very exciting duel. Gentlemen, we're going to do a high roll to see which one of you is going to go first. Okay, Anthony has rolled a 8 and Guillaume has rolled a 2. Snake Eyes, are you going to go first? Okay, Anthony is going to go first after that Snake Eyes roll with the Snake Eyes decks. So I'm going to hand you guys straight over to your amazing commentary trio, who are going to take you through the last of these matches to secure their place at the World Championships.
Anthony taking a deep breath after winning that dice roll, saying, I'm going to go first. This is what we're going to see in game number 1 of this deciding match of who goes to the World Championships. Let's go right to the table.
All right, it's the last final opportunity to earn that coveted spot in September in Seattle, in the United States, for the World Championship, as our players are ready to begin this game. Anthony, very fortunate to win that dice roll, and will it spell a omen of doom here, as Guillaume did get that awful, awful snake eye roll there. That is, that's not what you want to see. Yeah, we're just waiting for our players to begin here, I think, as our judges are loading in the cards and life points into the devices. Yep, there it is. Here's the handshake.
Oh, the quadra handshake. Definitely a new technology.
And new technology it is, as we begin the first European event of Infinite Forbidden, as Anthony has led with a Diabell Star. No response from Guillaume, as we discard Effect Veiler, which means the rest of the hand here might be very, very nice, actually, for Anthony, as we sequence forward with our Sinful Spoils, summoning the Snake Eye Ash from the deck.
This is a point where you could actually hand trap the Snake Eye Ash.
I think so, right?
I think what I'm worried about is a normal summon, right?
That is a good point. However, I think that usually, if you have another normal summon, you would want to keep the Sinful Spoils, right? So you can extend through an Ibiru or something.
All right, well, establishing the Divine Temple to get Snake Eye Diabell Star out of the deck here. Scaling it up, and this should be the full combo here, provided that Guillaume does not interrupt, which would be very surprising, as we have seen, I don't think, really the full establishment of a Snake Eye field here. There's the Ash Blossom coming down on Snake Eye's Ash effect to send.
That is, of course, already a big interruption. How is Anthony going to play with this? Maybe he has a crossout in the main deck or a Called by the Grave, contemplating whether it is worth to activate it now or if you're fine playing against it. Anima is going to be summoned. Now we're putting the Diabell Star into the Spell and Trap Zone. Now, of course, you can summon it out and go into the next kind or part of the engine to summon the moon.
Yeah, this is like the really cool part with the Snake-Eyed Diabell Star is establishing itself onto the field almost for free because of the Poplar scaling, which means you do get to establish 2 monsters on the field without still committing your normal summon. So we are very likely going to see the next step be that Closed Heaven, the generic Light Fiend Link 2 that allows you to then have the material for the Link 1 of... Ooh,
Makes sense.
That's actually pretty cool. All right, Link's away with the opponent's Ash Blossom spellcaster requirement for the Celine, and it means now we can actually go into Apollousa before we... Oh, Nibiru as well. All right, the Primal Being comes down here. Absolutely has to be used now, unless we had another hand trap to pair that with. So I'm going to assume Guillaume does not have any other more effect negation from the hand.
And I think that Anthony is just going to be incredibly fine with this, to be honest, because now he still has the Apollousa in the extra deck to maybe still end on it, could use the Temple, and from the looks of it, going for the Celine line, it just seemed like he also had another extender in hand.
Yeah, it might be not the end of the world, to be honest. It really depends on the last 2 remaining cards, but sets 1 and pass.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
See, I thought it was interesting that the Temple didn't summon out the Ash to then be able to use it as fodder for Close Heaven, but it does require effect monsters specifically, so you can make it with the Nibiru token, but no normal summon to be able to push through here as Guillaume responds with a Diabell Star into Infinite Impermanence, into Tract.
This is all of a sudden looking really good for Guillaume. What a strong Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring combined with Nibiru, the Primal Being, actually ending the turn from Anthony preemptively, and now Tract resolves. There's already 3 monsters on the field. What more do you want?
Yeah, no, lots of options available here for Guillaume. Most important of all, as well as the Spellcaster has been established, so preempting some more disruptions could be quite nice with Apollousa, but of course it's turn 2. We've got our battle phase, and that's absolutely what we're trying to establish, is going for that big game shot here as we bring out Engraver from the deck with our Requiem.
There's another set card of Anthony. Have we seen it before?
I think it's the Wanted.
Yeah, that was set from Diabell Star.
Yeah.
All right, checking the grave here to see if there's anything we can potentially bring out, but Hita unfortunately not available for us as we do not have a fire monster. Get to equip here, and yeah, using the effect to send the Primal Being token. Just clearing the way here. We don't really need too much left actually to attack for game. Under 5 summons, by the way. Although we have not popped out from the Divine Temple just yet, it looks like. Ooh,
actually,
right,
I think
it goes to the battle phase.
You can deal enough damage so that the Lacrima burn might end the game.
That's pretty interesting, actually. Yeah, no, that's pretty cool. Is there any reason we didn't use the Temple to bring out the Ash, you think?
Yeah, trying to not play into Triple Tactic Talents now.
Okay.
I think you can try to do that later on. There's the Effect Veiler. And I think that now is the time where another monster is summoned, you bring out the Snake-Eye Ash.
Yeah, okay. Engraver recycling the Lurry back into the deck here to summon itself. And we have the Fusion play from Tract being used. Yeah, all right. There's the Lacrima. 700 damage is all we need. Links it away. Do we have anything to stop this? Masquerena summon, Lacrima effect. Any response?
Does not look like it.
There
We're
it
packing
is.
up. Game
All
1
right.
goes to Guillaume immediately. Just 2 hand trips were enough. Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring together with Nibiru, the Primal Being, shutting down the turn completely. First off, negated the access to the Flamberge Dragon, and then Nibiru just had a field day.
What a
How do
hand
you
from
feel about
Guillaume.
the holding of the Snake-Eye Ash from the Divine Temple? Because if you summon that, you know, you're going to have some bodies to be able to protect your life points, not bringing you under that 1200 threshold.
No, exactly. Maybe Anthony didn't want to push and maybe hope to survive the next turn, so that maybe he could have had something going on if he really there's a scenario in which he survives. But you know, I think that was very unlikely. But we have to say that Guillaume's head was, I think, perfectly built. Honestly, it's like he had all the answers. So it's, I mean, at the end of the day, I think maybe you can pray that your opponent doesn't seal the game in the very first turn, and then hopefully you can come back into it. But you know, I guess that's what it is. I mean, you can just try and I mean, Guillaume, I think, seized the occasion and, yeah, game one, only one game away to earn his spot to the World Championship. So honestly, here the pressure's on Anthony.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think what's impressive as well is the fact that Anthony actually won the dice roll. Guillaume's still managing to win. So despite, you know, the snake eye roll, it's actually not too bad of a situation. I mean, you got to say the confidence boost from that is definitely going to be in Guillaume's favor.
It was a really interesting start to the turn from Anthony. So let's rethink that through. Okay, so he started with Diabellstar, discarding an Effect Veiler. And then just activated from hand the original Sinful Spoils. And was there any other follow-up?
Well, I think like if you hold the Veiler instead, you could have normal summoned it eventually to go for the Closed Heaven. But obviously, I think the idea was that you keep the Imperm over the Veiler because Imperm is just better than Veiler. But I guess it didn't really work out in the end because, you know, I think that extra body would have really helped to be able to go into the Fiendsmith engine.
That's true. Did he at all normal summon in the end? Because he also...
No, that's the thing. He could have normal summoned the Veiler potentially for that. Primal Being token obviously not being an effect monster means that we didn't have a way to keep extending there. So, yeah, lots of hand traps from Guillaume's play, and it proves to be just enough, actually, to survive this one. Winning that... I mean, I can't emphasize just how good it is to win game one after losing the dice roll.
Especially with some burn damage in the end after almost OTKing, going for that damage while not being... I mean, this is a very, very smart play by him to go for the damage while not being on the 5th summon.
Yeah, exactly.
Because then your opponent is forced to throw something on sequence, and there is still the track in the graveyard. So that was, I want to say, almost genius. Very well-deserved win by Guillaume. And now you have seen the handshake there. I think it's time to go over to start game 2, go over to the table.
All right, Anthony going to give it another shot here to go first as we start off this game number 2. A all-important battle between two friends here, well established in the French community as Mulch Army immediately. There's a normal summon, draw 1 card, and this is kind of awkward because sometimes the Mulch Army forces you to play differently if you have something like a Bonfire. Yeah. Bonfire for Ash is obviously like your best play, but you know, Mulch Army does also have the ability to kind of make your fields a little bit weaker. In this case, Anthony not really having an option, has to commit to the normal summon and then has to commit to the Poplar, and that's just a +1 and a free draw.
Yep, that is already 6 cards in hand for Guillaume, so very likely to have more hand traps. Ash Blossom is really strong, and now an extender like a Black Witch would be really, really bad because it gives an additional draw.
Yeah, I mean, Purulia, I think, is something that players have all been opting to side in their side deck here, because in an absolute worst-case scenario, there's very few decks that actually don't need a normal summon, and usually if they don't need the normal summon, they still have to special summon from the hand to actually get their plays going, so you're almost always breaking even with Purulia in a worst-case scenario.
Or you're stopping the entire turn, which I think you're fine with that. Yeah,
exactly. So it's very hard to find any downsides there. That's an Ash Blossom. Sorry, a Ghost Ogre on the Diabellstar.
Oh, and this is a shuffle of the deck of Anthony. This might indicate that he's going to pass the turn over. I'm not going to reach to my deck anymore. Just passes with no set cards. He has a few cards in hand. This is Guillaume's turn now. He might be able to close this out here. There's 4 more cards in hand of Anthony, so nothing's won yet. Snake Eyes Diabellstar is being discarded for the Diabellstar Black Witch.
Also a good one to discard, honestly, with the Black Witch.
Yeah, decent discard. Not too many good discards typically in this deck, but getting the Diabellstar in the grave is very important, especially as a spellcaster potentially for the Celine plays as well. We got the field spell up here. That's going to establish our Poplar directly from the deck. We can send that for the original Sin, and then the Poplar can then scale the Diabellstar. So again, just so much good synergy between these cards that just work out in such amazing ways that allow you to generate more and more and more advantage, seemingly for free.
Just seems like every single card covers every other card in this deck. We're going to special summon out a Snake Eye Oak now, so we're not even going over the Ash, even though we haven't used the special summoning effect from hand from Poplar yet. So we're going to see the Poplar being summoned here, and we're completely avoiding the Ash so far.
Yeah, I think we're just trying to establish as many bodies as possible first and foremost to maybe set up Apollousa. There is 4 in hand from Anthony, so I mean it's not anything to sniff at. That is still a lot of potential disruption to come out here.
And now if there is another strong extender, you could just go for a 4 Apollousa here.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You can maybe keep the Oak on the field to actually use it as a...
the end of main phase threatened, because this looks like game actually with the temple, to be honest. So I'm quite curious to see this here. Also, I would like, instead of going for a 4 Apollousa, you could go into IP first and then make Apollousa to play around Ghost Ogre.
Which I think is even better. Yeah. I mean, you can tell that Guillaume is thinking about it, right? Because there may be a chance in which he closes this out. Maybe you really don't want to risk getting Nibiru.
Yeah, I mean, I think like Nibiru is probably the scariest thing in this situation. You do lose so much advantage here. We haven't got Flamberge on the field yet, which is the most important part. So maybe trying to prioritize that right now from Guillaume might be a priority. Yep, and that is what he's... Oh, we're actually going to go for a Link Summon first and foremost.
What are we going to summon? The Hita.
Hita for Ash. That works quite nicely as well.
Fire Charmer Ablaze, and we haven't accessed the Ash before, so we actually get to go for a search after this one as well. I can't remember, was there a normal summon? Because I don't really think so.
I don't think he did normal summon, right? Because it was just starting from the Black Lich. Yeah. And I think Anthony might be holding a Veiler here, which will make a lot of sense to me. And is thinking of, oh, there's a Nibiru, indeed, yeah.
Activation of Hita, chain the Nibiru, no zone
Very
there.
Strong. Very strong, cutting off the Ash axis.
Yeah, for sure. Still a normal summon, potentially, from Guillaume to try and beat this Nibiru here. Oh, we're just gonna activate Engraver. All right, that's pretty good.
I also like the situation in which Anthony did it, and he special summoned out the Ash from the spell and trap zone to then afterwards Nibiru, so that there is no card the Temple could summon out.
Yeah, that was really important as well. Using as chain link as the turn player, Guillaume would be able to activate the Divine Temple to then bring up, but using our own on Anthony's side here to deny the Ash Blossom, giving the material for himself. Really cool play as we do get to still keep going, however, with this Requiem. To another Engraver, and that's going to be another body from the graveyard as well, potentially. Do we have a Bestial, maybe?
After getting Super Nibiru'd, it must feel really, really nice to just discard an Engraver.
Yeah, absolutely. Still 3 cards on the hand from Anthony's side here. And Guillaume is just, I suppose, I mean, you're definitely going to use the Engraver in the grave at this point. Question is, where do we go from here? First of all, establishing the Requiem to deny the Nibiru body.
Now we're gonna see. Guillaume is very close to winning this game. He just needs to solve the puzzle here. Goes into the sequence. A sequence going to be able to resolve, because this game, if he wins this, he's going to Worlds. He's going to be a participant at the World Championships in Seattle. But now Anthony Lopez picks up the cards in his hand again, throws the Effect Veiler. Is there anything more that Guillaume can do, or is this going to be a pass back?
Yeah, no, we've got the Fiendsmith Engraver still, bringing that back. We've got Princess access as well. Was that a handshake or a grab of the deck there?
Oh, Guillaume almost gave him the handshake. Baited there. But the Engraver is going to summon itself back out, and then we're going to be able to access the Promethean Princess, which is again so huge.
Yeah, the Princess is going to be absolutely massive, especially since we can bring back Oak. We haven't used the secondary effect of Oak, I believe. Oh, but we do have a Bestial that is so huge. Yeah, I mean, from here...
this is a pass.
Wow.
Anthony is back in this game. Anthony just now needs another normal summon. Has he gone through the moon? No, there's nothing in his graveyard. All of the resources are still in the extra deck. This is now all of a sudden looking phenomenal for Anthony. If he can find a monster to normal summon in his hand, he has still plenty of cards. I think even 3 or 2 it could be. Looks like 2 right now.
Yeah, no, there's still so much gas here potentially, just even with a normal summon. Second Bestial coming down here, double Druid's Worm. All right, well, that's 2 bodies, and that's one way to force it through here. Anthony does have the ability to also, I mean, you could overlay them as well if you really want to. Probably not that great of a situation for that, however, as we don't have the bodies required to revive with the Princess. as we've seen the inclusion of the Fiendsmith engine, utilizing rank 6 plays has been so powerful over this playoff so far. Okay, does actually go for the Beatrice indeed.
Oh, I think I know what's coming. Is he going to mill the Sinful Spoils card to add Snake Eye Ash from the deck to the hand?
Yeah, no, you get to get the all-important recycle off of this, just from this Beatrice.
That is so good.
Yeah, for sure. That's absolutely massive. Normal summons out the Oak after shuffling back.
Searches for the Ash, and the bottom of the deck is being accessed because it is the good old Poplar. Poplar special summons itself out. Searches nothing, of course. The Templar's on the field, and the original Sinful Spoils Snake Eye is banished. But it is still a body. And you also have the Snake Eyes Diabellstar in the graveyard, so even if the last card in hand of Guillaume is Nibiru, you're going to be able to summon out another monster.
In a prime position here, actually. So, must be pretty confident, but still has to be careful in sequencing these plays just to make sure that we can actually insulate ourselves from any disruption from the hand. The last important card could be a Primal Being, and I think that's what we need to pay attention the most to.
I think what you want to do is activate Ash or Oak to summon out a Flamberge from deck.
Yeah, keeping the Flamberge on the field is really important. It's the best way to keep yourself protected from something like Nibiru, making sure that when it is sent to the graveyard, it can actually float itself into some more bodies and keep going from there. Can also scale with the Flamberge here too, to go for that Diabellstar, giving you even more bodies. And yeah, you can pop out the monster from the Spell and Trap Zone and use the Flamberge float if you do get hit by Primal Being. So many different cool sequencing ways that Snake Eye has to be able to play through disruption, and masterfully displayed and showcased here by Anthony.
You have to pay a little bit of attention though if you activate the Snake Eyes Diabellstar. Ah no, you're turn player. Wait, no, that doesn't make sense. So you have to be very careful which card you put into your Spell and Trap Zone, because if you summon out the Snake Eyes Diabellstar, your opponent is going to be able to summon it out. And if you don't end the game on that turn, you might have given your opponent an important resource. We're going to actually just put the sequence into the Spell Trap Zone. Now the Poplar is being put into the Spell Trap Zone, and now the Snake Eyes Temple is special summoning out the Poplar. Is there even a target for it? Oh, and now the Temple is summoning out the sequence.
That is so cool, actually. We can actually use the opponent's sequence that we gave them, where they trigger. Oh,
there's
Nibiru! That's insane! Wow, what a array of plays. Okay, just to slow that down so you guys understand at home what exactly just happened here. Both temples are up on the field. Turn player priority means that the turn player, in this case Anthony, wouldn't be able to actually get the summon out first and foremost. So it means that by scaling the Diabellstar, Guillaume was able to summon a monster, but because we scaled Guillaume's sequence on Anthony's side, it meant that when Guillaume resolved the Divine Temple, we pop out the sequence that Guillaume has on Anthony's side to then bring out sequence. And then from there, you can't allow Apollousa. You have the two linked materials, you have to immediately Nibiru. Forces that out. Now we're here where we're at, which is to summon about the Fiendsmith Engraver, send away the Nibiru, and then keep playing forward from here as we go into a sequence, and then we can fusion summon and try and establish a full 8,000 swing through no more cards and no more disruption.
Imagine after all that you Nibiru your opponent and they're going like, yeah, okay, I have full combo now.
Yeah, absolutely well read by Anthony there to recognize the danger of that last card as we get the track for Luri, summoning out more bodies here. And we also have the ability to fuse. Likewise. No, that was just sequenced so perfectly well by Anthony. Really impressive.
I can't believe he's pulling this off.
Yeah, let's see if he can actually get the damage in, though.
Actually, let me check Temple. Is Temple boosting the attack of Luri? Ah, it's level 1 fire monsters. No, okay.
That would be a very different card. Close enough. Work that way. Close enough. Anthony does side access Code Talker as well, by the way, so going second, very likely that he brought that into this duel. So access does...
but he went first.
Oh,
lost the first game.
Yeah, of course. That's a good point.
The this is a real tough duel for both duelists. Both of them able to showcase how good they are at this game. Promethean Prince is being summoned now. We're going to summon out the Flambush. This
should just be game, right?
Yeah.
I think you can close this out, right?
Yeah, you just attack, and then link off and deal 12.
Yeah,
all
or
right.
not.
I mean, you can just keep going, I suppose.
Okay.
You know, you'll find game. There's many different ways to establish this here, so just do some flexing, I suppose. Why not? Use the Lacrima, get the 12 damage in. Hito can summon out, keep going from there.
There's probably also another Flamberge.
Yeah, exactly. 78.5 plus the burn brings you over 9,000.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And we're
scoops it
packing
up. Yeah. All right, well, it really was just going through the motions there as Guillaume recognized that was more than enough for game. Wow, what an incredible display there. I thought it was really impressive the way that he circumvented the double temple on the field, right?
Yeah.
Not speechless, honestly, especially because, like, I think we all said, okay, it's over. It's like 2-0, right? I mean, there was that moment in which you said, okay, maybe it's it. You know?
But you're absolutely right about the sequencing there, because he just knew the Nibiru was going to come, basically, and said, hey, okay, I'm just going to bench your sequence for a second there, put it in the spell trap zone, and it's going to full combo
Bench,
from
is that
there.
what we're calling it? I hear a new term every time.
So we're going to go shuffle up now as well for the game number 3, the most important game there is basically.
This is the last one.
Now.
One final duel to send you to the World Championship. It doesn't get bigger than this. It doesn't get crazier than this, and it most assuredly is not more nerve-wracking than this for the players. I mean, one final duel. This is really the highlight of their weekend. This is the main event for these players here, as they have established a huge amount of points throughout the entire year to get to this spot, to get to this stage by attending multiple regional circuits, opens, and of course some YCS finishes as well, kindly helping Anthony with his second places and championship victory to get first place in Swiss, I think he was, right, in the leaderboards.
Yeah.
So to be honest, Anthony is always so close to glory. He was in 2 YCS finals, and then he managed to win the French national championship. So is this his revenge arc? Is he also going to go for glory here to qualify for the World Championships? There's very few players who deserve it as much as he does. Guillaume is one of them.
Yeah, no, absolutely. These players have both earned their right to be in this tournament and to have a chance to fight for that coveted spot. And as mentioned, going into this final game here, I do really like Anthony's build with the mind controls and the thrusts, change of heart. You know, these are the type of cards that we might bring in. Some people do opt to go for lots of heavy hand trust, but we've seen just how powerful a change of heart and Apollosa can be.
Yeah, that is true.
11 years on the Forbidden Limit list to see it in the side deck in the final of a World Championship playoff. I mean, that is a story, huh?
That could also be a Snatch Steal as well, which was a card that has been very, I don't want to say problematic, but it has been controversial. It once or twice was brought back even in the Shadow form at times, and even then it caused quite the kerfuffle. So
Snatch Steal for game.
These cards are absolutely incredible. Stealing a BLS is also something else, but I think that arguably, if you compare the power level of a Blackluster Soldier, I think an Apollousa combined with the cards that you can play with it might be a little bit stronger as well.
You're reopening old wounds here, honestly. That's all I can say. Really cool as well, I noticed that Guillaume's also citing Ptolemy M7. It's a little bit of an interesting side deck choice that people have been running. Essentially what M7 does is that it gives you the extra light material, because you can then add back the Engraver, activate the effect to discard, get the track, then get the Lurian rotation, but that gives you 3 light fiends. So in situations where you go for time, you have enough to play through Bestials to get the established burn off, like we saw in the last playoff match in Gabriel Netz's case. And of course, it gives you enough fodder to go for Desiree. So it's an interesting tech that people have been side decking for situations like that. Probably not maybe going to be coming up going second, which is why the access code talker is in there.
I mean, Constellar Ptolemy M7 still bounces a monster from your opponent's side of the field, so actually it has applications going second. I don't know if it's worth to be sided in. You're very right about that. I think access code is something you want to prioritize. However, our duelists are ready for game number 3. Let's go to the table.
This is what it's all about. The peak of competition has reached its culmination in this last and final game. I think these players have given the handshake about 9 different times throughout this whole match. It is
with 18 hands.
All right, well, Guillaume's going first here with the normal summon. No Mulch Army drawn on the side of Anthony here, so we're just going to lead with Poplar for the Sinful Spoils here. All right, and Anthony is the master of the hand trap wars, as we've seen some of his features in pre-recorded Swiss duels, which you guys might be able to check out on the YouTube channel from the various socials, are...
Oh, what?
What?
Is this a pass
That's a
immediately?
Is that it? Wow.
Look at the expression on Guillaume's face as he leans back in size there. A single Ash Blossom preventing the rest of his turn there. 3 cards left in hand, however, there's still the opportunity for some more disruption to come down on Anthony's side here. He's not quite out in the clear just yet.
Oh, this
but
is
that's
a
a
very
big
good
card.
start, yeah.
And that's a very good counter to that. Infinite Impermanence, stopping both effects of Ash here as well, remember.
He really doesn't want to activate anything into that zone. Once it goes through...
Which column was that?
This is also very huge. And what you can do now to get a free discard or a free send for the Diabellstar is go into your own anima, take the anima of your opponent, because they were looking at each other, basically.
They are looking at each other.
And take away the Spell Trap Zone anima of your opponent for your Diabellstar Black Witch.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's the great synergies with the deck that has a tendency to place a lot or bench a lot of cards.
We're looking
yeah, that's
at
it. Yeah,
too
you
much
called
football.
it. How was your result recently, actually? That's a different conversation. Special summon out the Diabellstar by sending the Stolen Relinquished to then get our own Sinful Spoils onto the field here.
Very huge, and Anthony just now knows, hey, this bottom left spell and trap zone, there was no impermanence, I'm going to play everything in there.
Yeah.
It's just safer that way.
Stuck into the corner here, activates the Sinful Spoils. Anything coming up from
Goes
Guillaume? No.
This resolves. Are we going to see a Poplar or an Oak?
Yeah.
It is. Now we already have the extra draw, so yes, you said it, 3 cards in hand for Guillaume. However, Anthony just ended the turn. There is Nibiru already!
The Primal Being. Is that a little preemptive, do you feel?
I actually do like it. There is no temple yet on the field at all, so there is maybe not a lot of follow-up after this one. Oh, we're shuffling the deck. Is this a turn ender? No, we're absolutely not, because we can draw another card.
Yeah,
Engraver,
okay.
maybe?
Let's see if we can find something off the top. Your biggest draw of Anthony's life as we try and find something to try and push through this Nibiru.
Oh, we're checking all of the graveyards right now. Everything needs to be checked thrice before you either pass the turn or you continue playing. Is there a chance for Anthony to swing this turn back to his side? He activates Bestial Magnum.
This is also going to search in the end phase if we do get that far. Don't forget, searching any dragon. And yeah, that's a way to still keep playing. We need...
Has he activated it, though?
I didn't see a point at it. Could have been verbally declared. No, okay. I think that... Yeah, that's an activation right there. All right. Well, we still need some extending to try and push through here.
Oh, it's an exchange of heart onto Nibiru! That is something
MVP of Anthony has been change of heart this playoff, honestly. We've seen him activated a few times, and it's been very good. So it looks like we're just going to go for some damage here. That is a decent amount, 55. It's not quite in Lacrima range just yet, but we can go through our Fiendsmith line now and try and see if this will accrue as any further Snake Eye connections.
What do you think was the reason for him to just attack preemptively there? Because it's not like another hand trap like Nibiru is going to come down.
I think maybe even he's holding two hand traps, so two interruptions, because otherwise I can't really see like another scenario, right? Where you will, you know...
I suppose if he goes into the sequence and then that gets disrupted, it's just significantly less damage, so might as well get that in, because you're not establishing game here once that normal summon and the Diabellstar has been ran through, so you might as well maximize your damage and then see how far you get in main phase 2.
It's a fair enough point.
Shuffling back here, gonna go for Lacrima. No response there yet. All right, that resolves. The
Question is how we are playing on after that, because we have used most of the Snake Eye effects so far. What you could do now, of course, is go Lacrima, Summon Engraver, go Beatrice, and then send the Flamberge Dragon. there's multiple options here.
Have we used...
I don't think
we've used Oak's on field effect, but not Ash's second effect. So we can bring that out special Flamberge directly from the deck, but we're just missing a body to then further link away that Flamberge to float. We'll see though. Alright, there is the Lacrima. Engraver activates, gonna shuffle back.
I mean, you could just... Wait, let's think this through. If you go Beatrice and send the Flamberge Dragon?
What did we shuffle back for Engraver summon?
I didn't see.
I could also go Beatrice. It depends on what his side did in, honestly. If it's like, if it brought in the Angel of Blue Tears, I don't know. It really depends on how
I
his
just
side did.
activated Lacrima for Engraver summon.
Oh, sure. Okay. Yeah, you can just bring it back.
I didn't.
Alright, so there's the
Bellstar?
Beatrice. What do we send now?
It's like a Bellstar if he really wants to, or a Poplar.
I mean, Poplar kind of gives access to Temple if you summon it out with the Promethean Princess. The other question is also, what does Guillaume have in the graveyard? Are there any Fire Monsters? Yep, this is the question that has to be answered by Anthony. And there is a Poplar, so you can get access to the Temple yourself by going through a heater.
Yeah, I quite like sending Flamberge and then bringing it back with Princess, going into the heater afterwards. We're going to the heater first before princessing.
Very well, that's how it's supposed to be done.
Yep, does actually send Flamberge.
Summons it back out. Lacrima, of course, first activates.
1200 extra damage. Getting dangerously low on the side of Guillaume here. 13 remaining. Okay. He was picking up his side deck there to make sure he didn't shuffle it into the wrong pile, I believe. That could have been a disaster.
That is very true. And now are we going to go into a heater right here to get
I do really like that. So we're going to link summon into Hita, bring back 2 bodies, revive the Poplar, get the Temple, scale. And yeah, no, Anthony is in such a good position. Yeah. Guillaume just has that 2 cards in hand. Nothing really in the grave to be able to pop out on the next turn. Battle phase has been used, remember, so that is not going to be the end of the game on this turn just yet. But yeah, we are pretty far ahead.
The only problem with Poplar is that you're giving your opponent a Poplar in the spell and trap zone by using it. But then, I mean, you can actually immediately negate it with Appaloosa if you want to. If you want to go over Hita, summon out the Poplar, and then go into Appaloosa.
By the way, I think Anthony has a Wanted in hand here, but we've already used that part of the engine already, haven't we?
Yeah, that might be the case. I mean, it's also banished, so I assume.
Yeah, there's the Hita being summoned here. Floating back the 2 bodies again can't be expressed enough just how strong the Flamberge is.
So you're not searching for Temple?
Summon the Poplar. I think he's just checking everything here. You should... There's no reason not to get Temple. Oh, wow. Okay.
Seems like...
That doesn't seem right.
He's summoning out his own Poplar because he wants to have access to the Temple and access to Poplar to put more monsters into the spell and trap zone.
All right, works out anyway. That's fair.
Now the thing is, how do you get access to the Flamberge again? If you, I mean, that's pretty easy. You just use Snake Eyes Bellstar and then put it in the spell trap zone. Do you end on an IP? Can you end on Appaloosa plus
Appaloosa
IP
plus IP? I don't think it's going to be possible,
No.
but you can definitely get IP. Yeah, so it brings in the Flamberge here. Then links away the Hita and the Poplar now. What is this going to make? Celine, maybe? Yep, there it is. Oh, you actually can do IP and Masquerena. IP and Appaloosa, rather.
Yeah, absolutely works right here.
Oh, wow, that is really, really cool. Well played here by Anthony. super, super good interactions with the spellcaster. And Celine making a big play there as we actually set another card as well. So we have a lot established here. The field spell is going to be able to pop out the Flamberge at any time. You can link it away with the Masquerade into SP to then float 2 more bodies, banish a card, and Apollosa has 2 negates. This is really bad. Yeah. Like, can I just say this is not a great situation? It's not looking ideal.
There is very few cards
That's a good
that
draw,
can
though.
save Guillaume. For example, a Cosmic Cyclone in the process on the Flamberge could help him there. I think this is something you want to Appaloosa negate. However, the Poplar that you gave your opponent is a material that the Ash can use right there. I mean, there is 2 negates on that Appaloosa.
1 is used as we stop Ash.
There's 2 more cards in hand. There's plenty of options for Guillaume. Maybe actually he's going to activate a wanted and this
That's
might
huge.
change things.
That's absolutely insane. What a card. All right, that's not bad. Yeah, all right. That's gonna search out Diabellstar. And yeah, I think we're gonna have to pop out that Flamberge really soon here. I really do like hitting the Sinful Spoils with SP that we're going to set with this Diabell. You could just straight negate it, but I feel like I really want to use the negate on the send of the Ash. Oh, also, don't forget we get a draw here, so some options to be able to get off the top on Guillaume's side.
This is far from over. This is one of those games that we have all been waiting for, where everything is on the line and everything is being played out as well. This is basically the perfect Anfield that this deck can do, minus a Desiree. But keep in mind, there were so many interruptions on the side of Guillaume. Anthony, can he manage to take this home here?
Still the special summon ability of the Princess, if necessary as well, once we get Flamberge out onto the field. I'm just wondering if maybe it was worth summoning the Flamberge. Actually, no, you couldn't because of the way the trigger works is, so you had to choose between one and the other. Looks like Battle Phase is committed to. Actually, crashing into the IP.
And the chain block here is very, very strong. However, the battle phase now is gone, and that is a crucial part of this deck. Because now you have basically, that's the reason people don't play evenly matched anymore. Even though it decimates the field that Snake Eyes put up, you don't have the battle phase to end the game. And this is also basically what Guillaume forfeited there. He has no chance to end the game this turn. And there is resources on Anthony's side.
We still got the Sinful Spoils there to be able to send the Poplar scaled for free. That's going to be able to special summon out from the deck here. And yeah, Poplar can reestablish itself. And so it's really just down to what this Apollosa chooses to negate here. Oak Effect to special. Don't forget as well, we also have the Princess still in play. Did we use the Apollosa?
I don't think we did.
The second?
I don't think so.
Okay, still holding on to that as well.
I like that, because now you don't have to basically throw it on the first thing. Your opponent is going to do stuff anyway, but they don't have a battle phase. 7 minutes left on the clock. You're 6,700 life points ahead of your opponent. Anthony, he can just wait for the only thing that's basically really threatening him, and then use the Appaloosa if it's possible.
Yeah, again, the battle phase to force out Masquerena, probably correct. I mean, Masquerena would have got a huge amount of value if we tried to keep playing there by linking away with the Flamberge and establishing SP Little Knight to deny some bodies. And the Divine Temple is now activated here.
But that's kind of funny, because now the Flamberge is an interruption itself. If it doesn't have to summon out an IP Masquerena.
Yeah, there it is, actually, as you mentioned, the Diabellstar activating to summon itself and then place, but we chain the Flamberge to summon the opponent's Diabellstar.
Very, very strong here. Utilizing everything he has, because the IP was crashed into. Basically did the job. Prevented an OTK here, and now you use the Flamberge in a different way than usual. This is what the best players are made of.
All right, okay.
Still 2 cards in hand.
Main phase 2, everyone. Remember, this is really important. The Appaloosa still online. Flamberge pop coupled with the Princess, and the float still available. Looks like it's a Hita.
To be honest, do you think Guillaume has cited out the Anima? Because I think Anima is a pretty convenient way to get rid of the one Appaloosa negate.
Yeah, that's absolutely true.
I think you would rather want to go for an Anima before you activate Hita here. And if he doesn't use it, I think he cited it out.
All right, well, On the summon of Hita, we are thinking for just a moment on how we want to maybe use Princess here. Have we used the Poplar hand effect on Guillaume's side? I don't think we have, right?
No, nope.
We're getting rid of the Hita. We're going to destroy the Flambage. It has served its purpose. We're going to get back so many resources. And of course, Hita is also going to search something for Guillaume. Very strong searches for another Snake Eye Ash. Has he normal summoned though?
Yeah, I think he had wanted, right? Wait, no, did he normal summon Poplar?
I think that was a different game. All right, we are going to... Everyone is just checking cards now. We're searching for... Oh, that is the handshake from Guillaume.
Yeah,
He
wow,
scoops it up, says there's no way I'm going to win this game anymore. There's not enough time. And Anthony Lopez finally makes it to the World Championships.
After so many disgruntled second places, he has won the one that matters the most, the World Championship spot. He is heading to the United States.
And guys, they're hugging each other because they're friends. So we wish you were seeing what we're witnessing now.
Yeah,
and
it is such an emotional moment for both players here.
Yeah, so
bittersweet victory, bittersweet between two friends. You know, someone had to win this, unfortunately. And yeah, what a great scene this is here. Unbelievable. This is really what it comes down to. Dreams are made, but dreams are shattered as well in the process. It is just the peak of competition, and wow, what a duel. I mean,
let's talk a little about Anthony Lopez.
Honestly, unbelievable.
Because many people said in this format, you know, Snake Eye Fiendsmith puts up a field, you can't beat it, you're going to give up. That never happened to Anthony, basically. He put up a fight in every single duel that he played today.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, the pivotal moment, I think, was definitely the establishment through the Celine of the Apollousa into the IP through Nibiru.
Yeah.
Again, we'll have to get some thoughts on that from Ed afterwards about maybe that Nibiru was, like, slightly preemptive. It was a little early. Might have been a whole different game if we'd held on to that a little bit more, but, wow, just... super well played from Anthony. It cannot be expressed enough just how well he's played throughout this whole playoff.
I mean, we all know that the real MVP was the change of heart onto the Nibiru to extend through the field after this Nibiru. So that was also incredible. I did not see that coming, to be honest.
Honestly, I did not. Yeah, and I mean, we have to give credit to both of these guys and to battle that out. And I mean, well played by Anthony, who is now advancing to the World Championship in Seattle in September. Guys, thank you so much for watching and for being with us. Now the players interview are ready, so Ed, back to you.
Here I am with a man who is trying to keep composed, but is so excited, was cheering on the stage. We saw hugs between the two duelists. But here I am with the third and final from the World Points Qualifiers tournament. Anthony Lopez, not only the French national champion, but now going to the World Championship Series in 2024 in Seattle. Anthony, how do you feel?
Really not composed at all. I really want to scream, even though it doesn't look like it. But it is insane. Now I know how Gabriel Nets felt when he won against me. It's crazy. That feeling is like we did
nothing. Yeah, you did it.
I did it. Yes.
Well, let's talk about that, because obviously this was your second chance out of these 3 games to secure your place.
Yes.
So, especially when it came to the first match where you didn't quite make it, were you confident, like, okay, I didn't make that, but I've got this 3rd place, I'm going to get this? Were you confident, or were you just hoping for the best?
I mean, the first game, I know why I lost, so it's fine. The second, I got lucky. And the third, he got lucky. That's what happens. I wasn't tilted at all. I was mentally preparing for the second one. But the thing that I wasn't prepared for is playing against Guillaume Marron, a really good friend of mine. When we came to the top 4, we were ready to go to Worlds together. And then we need to lose the 2 rounds of Top Cut and face each other. So, I mean, one of us is going, so that's the best thing. But
Absolutely.
I really hope this weekend that he can go too.
Well, he still might have a chance, you know, with,
Yes,
with that
believe in
main
him.
event the rest of this weekend. And, you know, it's very sweet of you.
He plays way better than me, so he should go to Worlds.
Well, I guess we'll see. We've still got loads of time, and hopefully, you know, with that kind of display, would be good. Let's just quickly talk about this game before I let you go and sort of enjoy your time. First one, Guillaume used Nibiru. ended with the Lacrima, so already quite a difficult start there. But then game 2, you got multi-peruliaed, but you just played into it.
Yes.
So in moments like that, do you just think, who cares? I'm going for it.
Yeah, I mean, what can I do? Scoop? No.
Yeah,
I
just
can't.
go for it.
I'm already 1-0 behind.
Guillaume had Ash and Ghost Ogre. You used Nibiru. You were just working very hard in game 2, and
yes.
it was a great display. You played an excellent showcase of that deck. So when you were going into then game 3 at 1 apiece, how were you feeling at that moment?
I was really debating on if he is going second or not, because the funny story is we're both players. We're known for going second in the really hard mirrors to throw the opponent off. So there was a mind game. I was looking when he sided the extra deck card. I was like, okay, is he putting it back in the side or in the extra deck? I was only paying attention to that.
And then game 3, that last one, you got Nibiru'd, but you then changed of hearted the Nibiru.
Yes.
That was great. And then we saw the Lacrima game down to 1300. Guillaume tried to play as much as he could to see if he could find it out.
He didn't have enough time.
Didn't have enough time.
And too many bodies.
Yeah, exactly. And then you took it. And that feeling at the end, you could see how much it meant to you. Seeing you shouting on the stage just before we came over here,
yes.
You must be so excited.
Oh, yes, really. I want to hug all of my friends, say everyone thank you, because without all of them, I wouldn't be here. Thank you all.
Well, tell you what, I'm gonna let you walk off and go and hug all your mates now, because you're done here. You don't have to listen to me talk at you anymore. You're done. But congratulations again.
Thank you very much.
Best of luck. If you know, now you've got Worlds, I think you're like, oh, I can play the weekend if I want. But best of luck in Seattle for the World Championships. Maybe we'll see you lift that World Championship trophy. Very exciting. But guys, that is going to be it from today's coverage of those World Championship qualifying points there. Very exciting duels. We had a great time, and I hope all of you guys did too. But remember, this is only the start of this weekend. A Friday broadcast is unusual, but what we have for you is an entire 2-day event for this World Championship qualifier here in Berlin for Europe. It's going to be very exciting. Stick around on Twitch and YouTube, both Saturday and Sunday. We'll see you guys tomorrow morning.